Let's go, let's go, let's get it. Y'all see the title, y'all see the thumbnail. Yeah, so you already know that it's going down today. Y'all know it's going down today. So we about to get into this. Everybody come on in, strap on in, hit the like button when you make your way in the building, or if you're catching it after it's uploaded, hit the like button. Let's get ready to go. Let's get it. And I'm not ready.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mumia Obsidian Ali. You know who I am. I need no introduction, right? And you're listening to the Grown Man Hour with my man Bernard Riley, heard weekdays right here on YouTube. What do you think about that? How about that? Now let's get back on with the show. Thank you.
What is going on? I hope y'all can see me. And you can. And you can see me. Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to the early bird squad, those that make it in bright and early before we even get things going. Hopefully you hit the like button. Hopefully I hit the like button myself, because I'm about to make sure that I do that right now while I'm telling y'all to do it. But y'all see the title when y'all see the thumbnail, so you know it's already going down. It's already happening. This is kind of a big deal, but I don't think they're gonna be able to pull nothing off. They're not gonna be able to get on blank band. They're not gonna be able to do anything, but it's interesting. So I'm definitely glad to be here. Glad to get it rolling. Shout out to y'all to make it in bright and early before we get things started. Push one in the chat if my mic sound okay, because yesterday I had startup issues where I started up and the mic wasn't working. Y'all bared with me. Ike was on here. He spit a freestyle while y'all waited for me to fix my technical issues. So shout out to Ike. But yeah, we're about to get this thing started. But shout out to the people that make it in bright and early. 100 people in the building already. Make sure you hit the like button before the billions in the building. Says sounds like it's going to be a great topic. Absolutely. Says blessings and prosperity. BR and chat. Shout out to Stoic One, Queen Q in the building, giving a face palm. She says, what is this effery? It won't work. It's freedom of speech. Anyway, good morning, chat. Yes, we have freedom of speech, but you can't yell across the airplane and say hi to your friend named Jack. Hi, Jack. On the other side of the airplane. No, you can't do that on an airplane, even though you got freedom of speech. You can't yell fire in a movie theater, even though you got freedom of speech. However, there's nuance. There's nuance to it, and what they will and won't get done. The petition actually is actually very wordy, so I'm going to read it and break down line by line all the foolishness that they're saying in the petition. I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to break it down word by word. So we're going to get into that. Mr. Shane Vigil says, sounds like hit dogs hollering. Yes, a lot of hit dog hollering out here. Scythe Bud in the building says they're baller blocking KS. Where are their morals? They have none. They have none. Shout out to Logan JJ. The same sisterhoods that are always asking for protection and good men. Shaking my head. She said, yeah, shaking my head in my Kevin Samuels voice. You can't make this ish up. No, you can't. No, you can't. Demetrius. Here we go. Higashikata speaks. I got to bring up Queen Q to come up and give me the correct pronunciation of that. She know how to pronounce those anime sounded names. But shout out to everybody in the building. Already got the audience pouring in, so I'm not going to belabor it. Shout out to Pablo Frescobar in the building. Shout out my man Theodore Young. When I play that Division 6 comic book ad, a lot of people don't know when I say executive producer Theodore Young. That's actually Theo Waff, the man who did an excellent stream with me. Just to plug that one a little more, we did an excellent stream that was titled why do I always forget what it was titled? But it was titled something along the lines of I was homeless while making $15K a month from simping. Right now, the brother he put it out there, so I ain't telling his business. He makes $50K a month right now. No longer simping. But yeah, that Theo, the Theo Waff you see right there is the same Theodore Young. That's the executive producer of the Division 6 comic book that you guys could definitely support just by clicking on it. You don't got to buy it. Just click on it. Just click on it. And if reading is fundamental to you, go ahead and read it. But just clicking on it helps it out a lot. So make sure y'all do that. Make sure y'all do that. But no, we about to go ahead and get right into it. I'm gonna pull it right up as we get going. I'm not even gonna wait and do a whole lot of perfunctory, because the stuff that they were saying here is just ridiculous. But shout out to There I Said It in the building. Says, what's up with these broads, man? Let a black man live. Can I live? Yes, absolutely. They don't want to let them live. Appreciate There I Said It with the $5 super chat. Appreciate you. Definitely appreciate you. Somebody says we want perfunctory. Thing about perfunctory is either has to be prepared or somebody say something in the chat and then I just like, all right, that's a good topic. Let's go. And then we just start talking about that. Said Bernard, first of all, good morning. Secondly, how much do you charge if I ask you to do a voiceover for my show? God damn. People always come to me, ask me, how much do I charge for stuff? And it be something that I don't even sell. Email me and we'll figure out something, man. I've never sold my voice. I've never sold my voice, so I don't know how much it's worth. I don't know the going rate for a voice on the open market. These are things that I don't know. So yeah. I don't know. We'll talk about it. We'll figure something out. Just send me an email. My email is in the about section. My email is in the about section. Let me share a screen. Here it is, right here. Right out the gate, they got him sitting there looking all like he just like you. don't he look like, dang, hold on, let me see if I can blow that up. The image that they using for the petition, don't it just look like he just calling somebody a female dog right there? See, that's the problem with you, bitch. Like, I'm trying not to mess up the algorithm because the number's good. I don't want to mess up the algorithm and start cussing every 5 words, but it might happen today. But but they went and paused them on the perfect picture, didn't they? They paused him on the absolute perfect picture. Or yeah, he just letting them have it in that picture. But oh man, yeah, cancel culture has no chill and coming for Kevin Samuels. Let's look at exactly where this thing started out. It started right out with the first thing they said, and I'm not even going to promote who started it. I don't know. Okay, well, I guess if it's zoomed in close enough, you probably can see her name. But I don't really care about the chick who started it. I think I've heard she has some small channel that barely gets some views, and then she's just using this to try to grow her channel. I don't knock people growing their channel, but I will analyze the words that are coming out of your mouth and whether or not you're making sense or not making sense. But so I'm not even going to mention her name. But if y'all zoom in or find the link to this thing, y'all can see it. But yeah, it's a small channel. We're gonna keep it moving past that. This is my first time really paying attention to her actual name. But anyway, the first thing that came out of the mouth of the petition is, with the rise in violence against women. I would love for her to substantiate that. With the rise in violence against women here in the Black manosphere, we're actually kind of sticklers for stats, even though we get charged up of using stats improperly. And yes, there are some people that use stats improperly. Yes. There are some guilty people who use stats improperly. Stats need to be sourced from. Sometimes you got to look at some data. You got to see how it was sourced. Sometimes you got to, if it was a study done, was it peer reviewed? And then looking at other data from other areas and how was that sourced? Was that peer reviewed? How did they collect the data? How did they go about it? And sometimes you got to have multiple data points and put it all together. So sometimes it can be a bit difficult. Sometimes it can be a difficult, tedious job getting the data just right. And so small mistakes can be made. But overall, the Black manosphere is sticklers for data. Shout out to Obsidian, because I believe I don't know if I can give him full credit for this, because there probably was other people who was on it. But when I first discovered Obsidian, he was all about the data. That's pretty much all. I won't say that's all he did is just read off data. But he had Alan Rogers Curry described him like this. He had a as a matter of fact type of vibe to him. He's a little more laid back then probably, but he had more. When somebody would say something incorrect about Black men or incorrect about Black women, he would be like, well, actually, as a matter of fact, and then he will quote the data. When someone tries to say something elevating how wonderful Black women are, he will put out the data to say, no, this is actually the facts of it. And if the data confirmed that they were, as wonderful as they say they are, he would say, okay, on this point, yeah, the data checks out. But on this point, that point, this point, and the other point, it doesn't. And y'all are saying that Black men are garbage and trash and this or that. And then he will pull out the data that shows that, okay, on this point, yeah, you're right. We are, we do suck right here. But on this point, that point, and this point, you're incorrect because of A, B, and C. Shout out. Okay. I see Shane Vitches down there said BGS is a data person too. And that's one thing I like about Kevin Samuels' show, because Kevin Samuels has pulled a lot from BGS. He's pulled a lot from Obsidian. And now that he's on this platform as this big, he's hitting them with data. He's hitting them with facts. A group of people that typically don't care about data. Black women don't care about data. There's a lot of Black men that don't care about data either, but that's a whole nother story. But he's hitting them hard with facts, stats, and data. And here they are with a petition, and they threw out something that needs to be substantiated. The book, written by Steven Pinker, Angels of Our Better Nature, pointed out how everything has gotten better. Over time, everything has gotten better. Violence in general is down, and violence against women is down. So I would love to know where she pulled that I hesitate to say stat from. I would love to know where she pulled that stat from. But with the rise of violence against women unsubstantiated, especially African American women, YouTuber Kevin Samuels have galvanized a community of men of all races and nationalities in the outspoken hatred of women. The outspoken hatred of women. Okay. That part bothers me, and I'm going to keep making this point over and over again. I'm going to keep making this point over and over again that when you listen to what Kevin Samuels is talking about, he's talking about marriages and families. He's saying that women, oh no, I'm sorry, men need to put their head down, work hard, work 60 hours a week, and hopefully by the time that you're 35, oops, didn't mean to do that. And hopefully by the time that you're 35, that you're able and in position to not just take care of yourself, but take care of your family, because men start making the most money that they make when they get into, start hitting into 40 years old. So by about 35 going into 40, he's advocating for men need to get on their grind and work hard. Don't worry about dating and relationships. You can get you some little action here and there, a little something here and there. But overall, focus on what you have to do to increase your value, to make yourself more valuable. Okay? Make more money. That's what he's talking about doing. He's talking about doing what you got to do to increase your value so you can make more money. So by age 35, 45, and I think the average black man, here we go back with the data that the Black Manosphere loves. The average age for marriage is higher. The average black man is getting married somewhere in the early to mid 30s anyway, as it is. That when black men get married, we don't get married that much. Get married more than black women, but overall we don't get married that much. But I think the average marital age is something like 33. He's advocating during that time from 20 to 35 to going into 40, you should be busting. Yeah, I'm trying not to cuss because I don't want to mess up the algorithm because the number's good, but you should be busting your behind to make yourself to be as successful as you possibly can. Why? Well, once you become successful as you possibly can, you could do whatever you want to do with it. But one thing that he thinks that men, ultimately ought to be doing is, you think you should be raising a family. And I agree. I think the successful among us, if we want to see better black people, it starts at home. You do need to build up better black people from the ground up, reach out, save the community, volunteer at the youth center. I think the successful and people among us with their head on straight, raising successful, productive individuals is more efficient than baby mama ism, baby daddy ism. But then the successful head on straight among us go and mentor the youth that has been corrupted by their horrible upbringing. I don't think that's a workable system. So Kevin Samuels is talking about is men getting on their grind, getting their money right, getting themselves together, and then ultimately marrying. And it's something that some people in the manosphere got some harsh disagreement with, but we're gonna walk past it for today. We're gonna walk past it today. We ain't having a marriage debate today. But some people in the manosphere got harsh disagreement with this. But he's talking about build yourself up, make yourself as successful as you possibly can. That way you're in position to do what? Take care of a family. And most black men marry black women, and he ultimately advocates for black people being together. So he's telling black men to get yourself together so you can take care of what? A black woman and some black children. Now, I can understand some black men giving pushback, like, hold on, I'm not becoming this successful so I can just take care of, somebody else. I'm about to get successful and live my life. Forget duty and honor. I'm about to, hey, I didn't work hard for. I can understand black men pushing back. I can understand that. I'm trying to understand Why are black women pushing back on that? What do black women have to push back against on that one? He's talking about black men getting themselves together, building themselves up, and then taking care of, a woman and ultimately his children in a marriage on his terms, her submitting to him, she getting on board with him, she following his rules. It's on his terms. But that's what he's talking about. So always go back to this point, and I'm gonna keep saying it till I'm blue in the face. If you're pushing against that message, you're fighting against a message that ultimately would result, if it worked out, it will result in more black women, in more black children having more protection and provision, and overall better outcomes. So if you're fighting against Kevin Samuels, you're fighting against better outcomes for black people. I just want to make that very clear before I read anything else. All right. Shout out to Obsidian in the building who's been missing in action. I'm definitely going to drop the link for Obsidian momentarily. This wasn't planned. I didn't know he was going to be in the chat. He's been missing in action, but hopefully he can come up and have some words. I don't know what he got going on or if he's available, but I'm definitely going to try to get him up here on this. Definitely going to try to get him up here on this. Black Wizard in the building with the $5 super chat. If you're new in here, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, bang the bell. I do this every morning. But shout out to Black Wizard. Shout out to Black Wizard with the $5 super chat. He says there was a petition written against the Black Manosphere during 2.0 as well. They also went on mass reporting campaign. Not that I'm you gotta be careful with that, because sometimes, you will lay out the game plan indirectly. Boyce Watkins low-key did that to Kwame Brown. He better be careful with saying this word and that word, because somebody, wink, wink, hint, hint, could go and flag your channel. Tanya TKO does that I've heard her do that multiple times. Kevin Samuels, sideways, soft shoe, tell her audience to go flag them. I've literally heard her do that at least twice. All right, going on forward with the video. She says, not with the video, with the article or petition. She says, removing this voice of divisive vitriol will allow women to feel safer, not only in public spaces, but in online communities as well. The read between the lines, womanese, shout out to Donovan Sharp, that's embedded into there, that what did she say? Safer not only in public spaces, but in online communities as well. Translation, she wants protection from criticism. Translation, she wants protection from criticism. That's it. That's all it is. There's no rise in violence out there. You're not in any actual physical danger because of Kevin Samuels' YouTube channel. However, it's putting black women under a spotlight, whereas the previous notion about, what's wrong with the black community or black relationships as a whole, or black families, it's been Negroes ain't ish. That's been the only answer until recently. The manosphere was the resistance, the initial pushback. Kevin Samuels, coming out of the manosphere, blew up, has a 1 million sub platform, and now our pushback is going mainstream, and they want protection from criticism. Protection from criticism. That's what's embedded in that line right there. Removing his voice, moving this voice of divisive vitriol will allow women to feel safer, not only in public spaces, because you're not being attacked more in public spaces, but in online communities. Yes, we want protection from criticism. We want to be able to do what we want to do, say what we want to say, and not have nobody on a major platform criticize our actions and behavior. Here she acknowledges on the next line, freedom of speech is a constitutional right for each of us. However, when that speech is loaded with thoughts and threats of violence towards women. How Somebody explain this. How is he putting threats of violence towards women? How has he done that? Now, I do know that the Swirl girl has made a fraudulent attempt at saying the reason that she went on a crusade against Kevin Samuels because she took one call that he did. She pointed out one call where one woman said there was violence in the marriage and whatever, and her and her husband was separated, and he told the woman to go back to her husband, but didn't really ask any details about the violence. She did take that one call and tried to run a mile with it and do a whole, video campaign against him, basically. She did try to do that. And the only little iota that they could try to, the only drop they could try to squeeze out of that is that, yes, there are times when he legitimately don't buy it when they say, well, it was violence in my marriage. Now, the reason that he don't buy it, is because when he asks them questions, when they say, well, my marriage and relationship, it was toxic and there was violence involved in it. And then when he asked them a series of questions, he find out that it was mutual combat. She was hitting him first. He finds out all kinds of stuff like that and say, it sounds like I need to go to therapy. They will flip that and say, he's saying you need to go back to the abuser. Or when he say something like, okay, were there any police reports, any documentation, any this, any that? He will ask them questions and he will find out that it was vague at best. He will find out that it was vague at best, the violence. But in no way, shape, or form does his message advocate for violence. Only thing he's asked for them is to be specific when they're talking about violence. And if they're being specific when talking about violence, he asks, okay, were there any police reports? Is there any evidence of this? So the only thing you could charge him up with is just not accepting their word just automatically. I'm just going to automatically accept your word without questioning it. That's the only thing you could charge him up with in that realm. But as far as advocate, like he's advocating for violence against women, no. Like, come on, like that is an overwhelming over the top reach on that one. That is an overwhelming over the top reach. At most, he said, get some therapy. At most, he's interrogated their violence, their verbal, emotional, and physical violence towards the man that they were charging up. And they do stuff like that all the time. They'll say things like, well, there was adultery involved in the marriage. Okay. And he was like, okay, so how often were you cheating on him? Well, I don't want to get into the, well, okay, well, who was cheating on who? Well, you see, they will tiptoe around it, but when he asked a series of questions, and eventually 5-10 minutes later, she would end up admitting that, yeah, she was the one cheating. And they both was cheating. And they both was violent. And they long story short, they both was crazy. That's what he will unearth. And they will take that and find he's advocating violence against women. Like, no. But here she said, going back a little bit. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Right. Chia. Here we go. Right here. My bad, yeah. All right. Yeah, freedom of speech is a constitutional right for each of us. However, when that speech is loaded with thoughts and threats, violence towards women, manipulation of young. Oh, okay. Here we go. Yeah, this is a good one right here. Manipulation of young women and even fantasies of death to women. Okay. You could take this line by line. It's like you can't even go to the and. I can't even get to the and. The manipulation of young women. Now, if he was saying, get your money right, build your value so you can just go and just pull up on the college campuses and scoop the chicks up and just get and smash and get out. When I'm talking about when you're a 35, 40-year-old man, because that's what he's talking about. He's talking about older men marrying younger women. When he talks about men being of a certain age, like let's just say 40, he says when you're approaching a 23-year-old woman, he literally can be quoted as saying this. When you're approaching a 23-year-old woman, he's basically said you damn near need to be approaching her with ring in hand. Do not waste this woman's prime years, her short window where she's going to be approaching what he calls the danger zone. Don't waste her time and then walk her into the danger zone and then throw her into the wall and then be on to the next young chick. If a chick is young and fertile, no kids, in shape, feminine, friendly, all the, you know what he say, FBI, y'all know the lingo. Y'all know the lingo. If she's all of that and you sitting there, a 40-year-old man, he's like, and you know that she's interested in marriage, he's making a point again. I would understand men disagreeing with it. I would understand men saying, no, I built myself up. I made all this money so I can go have a good time with young chicks. Young adult women, by the way, let me make that very clear. Shout out to Rod of God Podcast. I got in the zone and I forgot to shout out y'all super chats, man. I appreciate each and every one. Thank y'all for coming through with the super chats. Appreciate each and every one of y'all. Rod of God Podcast in the building. Leo Anthony in the building says, hit the like button and subscribe if you're new here. Support Black Male Media. Absolutely. Thank you, Leo Anthony. Appreciate that. The Pioneer in the building says, BR, this is a great example of why Black people need to build our own social media platform so we can control the content and contributors. Absolutely, absolutely. Working on it. We own it, man. We own it. Trust me. Trust me. Things going on behind the scenes. We own it. But shout out to you. Shout out to you. Appreciate the $5 super chat. But this is going to be a reoccurring flashpoint in this discussion because it's so many things in here where if you really break down what Kevin Samuels is saying, you would think it would be more men giving pushback to the core tenets of the message. It would be more men saying, hey, I didn't become this successful so I can get married and risk losing half. And, no, I became successful so I can be single and free. He's ultimately saying that, no, when you get that successful, and I'm going back to that point that was made in the article, manipulation of young women. Somebody got it right. I think the Bunker TV got it right. Fit, fun, feminine. Nah, I don't know if that's it. No, I don't think you got it right. I don't think that's what he says. I think you just threw in an F. I don't think he used fun. You just threw that in because it started with an F. That's not it. That's not it. It's Theo down there. Big money man Theo down there said, yep, single and free. Yes. Yeah. You think men would give a little pushback, like, hold on. This ain't what I got successful for, so I can get tied down. So I can have potential liabilities, potentially lose half. But no. He's saying that it's okay. I'm just going to go back to that statement. Manipulation of young women. Shout out to Ike in the building. Moderators, go ahead and drop Ike link in here. Kaya Du was hidden by D-Rock. Dan, Kaya Du normally cool. What happened? She said, hi, Leo, and you hit her. Damn. You red pill raging, big dog? You down there red pill raging? What happened? She said, hello to me and hi to you. And you hit. That must have been an accident. Unhide Kaya Du, somebody. Okay, she already unhid. Okay, cool. That must have been an accident. All right, cool. We back on it. Thought Leo Anthony or somebody was red pill raging down there. All right, cool. He must got his phone. I did it on Ramil channel. I hid somebody when my phone was in my pocket. When I took it out of my pocket and looked, it said Bernard Riley has hidden somebody. So yeah. Rod of God Podcast says pocket modding. Yeah, man, I be pocket modding all day. I don't comment in people chat that much. I normally will put on some earbuds and just listen in the clouds and be accidentally pocket modding. So yeah, okay, no harm, no foul. As long as we made right. Get her back unhidden. All right, Greg O in the building. He says they hate the fact that the wall does not negotiate with insurgents. They are allergic to competition. Their kryptonite is accountability. I got like how you put the words together. I like how you put the words together on that one. All right, let's go. Yeah, I keep trying to get to the point, then I keep getting distracted. Manipulation of young women. Again, if somebody's message is that yes, older men should get with younger women, but they should marry them, how is it that women have a problem with that? Those older men are in more position to protect and provide, because protecting in modern times doesn't mean being able to win a fist fight or a knife fight. No, it's resources. It's being able to put you in a better environment, a more comfortable surrounding, a better neighborhood, a safer neighborhood. Guns are the ultimate equalizer. So just being in a general safe area where all the crime isn't happening, that is the way of it. That is how it works. That is protection. So if he's saying men who are older, who have made themselves successful, should marry younger women, and those younger women should show up in shape, fit, feminine, friendly, no kids, and be able to pop out his babies. Again, this is going to be a flashpoint in this discussion. If you follow everything that he's saying to its logical conclusion, that would put Black women and Black children in a position where they are better taken care of, has more protection, more provision, and overall better outcomes, because Black people who grow up in families that are doing well, even if they're not doing that well, just with mom and dad are together and got the hit on straight. You know, I would talk about it all the time, the outcomes for children born Black in America to a marriage or to two-parent household or whatever. Well, the status to a marriage. So I'm not even going to smuggle in those living together and not married, even though I do think I know some people who do the non-state sanctioned thing and they're doing well with it. It'd be a lot of baby mama and baby daddyism getting smuggled under the table of the non-state sanctioned marriage discussion. So just looking at it from a state sanctioned standpoint, the data does show that you're better off being born Black in America to marriage than being born to a white single mom. So if you follow what Kevin Samuels talking about to his logical conclusion, is going to result in more Black women and more Black children being in a better position, having better outcomes, being better protected and provided for. That Black women are pushing back against it. Black women are trying to get it banned. Why? Oh, because he talks really harsh and tough. He criticizes us. He'll mean to us. The only thing they need protection from is criticism. That's the only thing that they really want protection from is criticism. Everything else is like they just find the way it is. They just want protection from criticism. They want to be able to do what they want to do, how they want to do it, when they want to do it, and not have nobody say nothing about it, and somebody else get blamed for their outcomes. That's how they're operating. Somebody is saying this is a better way to do it. Older men making more money, marry younger women. They'll put that younger woman who's showing up, hopefully fit, feminine, friendly, feminine, friendly, submissive, no kids. Get on board with that man, follow his lead, because he is older and in a position to lead, making more money. He's older than her, he's smarter than her, wiser than her. Career is much further along than hers if she has a career. He's in position to lead and take care of her and their children. How are Black women objecting to this? Oh, but he's mean when he says it. You think Black men would be objecting? You think Black men who worked hard to get to that point would be like, man, forget this. I'm not about to put it all on the line for the greater good. No. It's Black women that got a problem with it. Counselor Murray in the building says it's getting worse out here. Black women might as well be classified with the handicapped and disabled. Can't even critique them. White liberals already see them as a protected class. Absolutely. Shout out to you. Appreciate the $10 super. A great video quoting Nicole Michelle saying the modern women dilemma is they want to say what they want to say and do whatever they want, while still having men romantically and financially loyal to them. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Rod of God podcast back in the building with another one. Shout out to you. Appreciate each and every one of you. Appreciate each and every one of you for coming on through. Shout out to Little Big Nate, man. I know I heard you blowing like 5 gaskets last night on Ramil's panel when that dude showed up and said that girl was not disrespectful to her father when she was like, I don't want to talk to you, Dad. I don't like talking to you. I don't want to. Man. I was in the chat saying, just pass the mic to Little Big Nate. You was a little more calm than what I thought you was going to be, but you still went off. But I was like, I know Little Big Nate is up there blowing a gasket because homeboy was on Ramil's panel trying to say that video that went viral, that girl disrespecting her dad, she didn't trying to argue that she didn't do nothing wrong. Whoo, Little Big Nate was up there blowing a gasket. I was like, I was spamming the chat. Pass it to Nate. Pass it to Nate. I wanted to hear you go off so bad on that one. But man, but all right, getting back into it. Yeah, I'm gonna do some more content. I'm gonna do some more content on that one. Shoot, if he willing to hop on Ramil panel, actually, I think he was on Obsidian sometime back. I don't know. I might can get him on the show. Who knows? Who knows? Stay tuned. But yeah, getting back into what was said here, the manipulation of women thing, that's some bull crap, because he's ultimately saying they should, older man dealing with a younger woman, you need to be showing up with goals and intentions, ready to put a ring on it. Again, I can see why men might have a problem with that, but women are fighting back against it. That's the irony that I'm going to keep going back to here. That's the irony that I'm going to keep going back to here. And here we go. And fantasies of death to women. That is just pulled right out of her butt. Right out of her butt. Again, only way that could even possibly be a thing is if you take something that somebody said who may or may not loosely claim the banner of manosphere, take something that they said, and when I say something they said, I'm talking about something that they're currently saying. You can pull up some old videos of people saying some crazy stuff, maybe. I'm talking about somebody's current position. If they're saying that, I guarantee they don't have a channel. There's some chat room dude, or there may be some panel hopping dude. Maybe. But that don't got nothing to do with Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels, actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think he very judiciously got people like that out of his chat room, because whenever you having these conversations about black men and black women, it's going to be some black women that's going to show up and say something like abort all black babies, and it's going to be some nameless, faceless avatar of a black man who's the equal opposite of that nameless, faceless avatar of a black woman, even though I think a content creator actually said that other line. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But that's not the point right now. It's going to be people on all sides that are going to have that. There's going to be crazies coming out the woodwork. But to try to say that Kevin Samuels speaks to that on his platform, fantasies of death to women, like, come on. That freedom of speech becomes a prison for all people. Those thoughts and desires are intended to isolate. Okay, here we go. Acts of violence, sexually predatory behavior, and even death has been documented as stemming from rhetoric Mr. Samuels and his community of followers have spewed in the last 12 months alone. Okay. Acts of violence, sexually predatory behavior. I would love for somebody, I shouldn't say I would love somebody to do it because they're not going to be able to do it because they're not going to be able to find it, but it's nothing that you're going to find and nothing that Kevin Samuels is saying that even rings of sexually predatory behavior. But she's saying that, and this goes back to that whole thing about stats, facts, and data. She's saying that it's been more documented cases stemming from it. Let me make sure I read that right. Acts of violence, sexually predatory behavior, and even death has been documented as stemming from the red. Okay. So if something has been documented, then you can prove it. If something has been documented, you can prove it. So how are you going to prove in a documented way that Kevin Samuels' rhetoric has led to someone's death? How can you prove that? How can you say that? How could you substantiate that? How can you make that make sense in any way, shape, form possible? How? How, Sway? How is that possible? How is that possible? They're just pulling stuff just out of nowhere. Just pulling stuff out of nowhere. What they're doing, they're ultimately, and this is another thing. Well, I'm gonna go forward a little bit here, but this is another thing I got to get into. Well, let's look at this like from this perspective right here. Women feel unsafe in the presence of men who identify with this ideology and have even been berated while going about their daily lives. Yes, even while at work with criticism. Just going back to that thing about criticism. Going back to that thing about criticism where, yes, the only thing that they want to be protected from is criticism. I like that she's actually ending it with the criticism. But before I dig into the whole criticism thing, the acts of violence, sexually predatory behavior. Now, put it like this. They can no longer try to charge white women up. You know how, white women, they will falsely accuse ya. They will put false charges and everything. Like the amount of false charges being pinned right now. Like let's stop and think about that. The whole thing. I won't call it a trope because it actually used to happen, but a white woman, she got a situation or whatever happened, who knows what happened, but she'll try to say, excuse me, she'll try to say some black man did something to her. That's why y'all need to stay away from white women. They'll try to accuse you of this. They'll try to say you did this. They'll try to pin this on you when they get in the bind, they get in trouble. They'll try to say this or they'll try to say that. But like, look at this stuff here. Look at the type of stuff that they're trying to pin on Kevin Samuels. They're doing the same thing, just through the form of a petition. Acts of violence, sexually predatory behavior, and even death. They're trying to pin all that on a man. They're trying to say that those things that happen. I mean, yes, acts of violence happen. Sexually predatory behavior happens. And death happens. Those things happen. Those things are awful. To try to pin that on a man because you don't like the things that he's saying on his YouTube channel. That is ridiculous. That is low. That is scum right there. That is a scum. That's no different. That's no different from the whole the white woman crying rape. I said the word. That's no different from that. I'm messing up my algorithm right now, but that's no different from the white woman who cries that out to try to get somebody to take action against a man. That's essentially what they're doing. That is essentially what they're doing. All right, moving on down the road. Shout out to everybody in the building. Make sure y'all hit the like button. If you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I do this every morning. Make sure you hit the hit the subscribe button. Going forward, we almost at the end of this thing. It got over 1,000 supporters. Wait, no, hold on. Where we at? This thing has, 1,156 people have signed it. Says women feel unsafe in the presence of men who identify with his ideology. That whole term about feel unsafe, the whole thing about, feeling safe. Mike and Vince Perkins, check your email. The whole thing about women not being protected. I've broken down in a number of videos, a number of streams explaining how a lot of that is really just a feeling of not feeling safe. When women are not single, they just don't feel safe. But reality is women are safer than ever right now in the Western world, in America. But moving forward, women feel unsafe in the presence of men who identify with his ideology. More stuff that you can't substantiate in any way, shape, or form. You just and have even been berated. Yes, even while at work. They've been berated at work. With what kind of now, I do think that it's a small bit of truth in the men are more likely to clap back nowadays than what they were before. I think that's the only real causal change in this whole thing that they could talk about that maybe actually happened. It's probably more men who, when they hear a woman talking about, man, these dudes ain't this, they broke, they that, and he's like, yeah, and you overweight baby mama with somebody else hair tacked on your head that you've been wearing for 3 months too long. Guys are more likely to clap back. That's about it. That's about the only thing that I think in this whole article that they can say. The guys are more emboldened to just speak their mind truthfully on YouTube. That's the only thing in this that I can say, okay, yeah, she's probably right there. The guys are more likely to clap back and say something. With criticisms that have been spoken directly from Mr. Samuels' mouth. Yeah, and guys will quote Kevin Samuels out of nowhere. I've actually heard that. But not with acts of violence, but with stuff like you don't add a lot of value to my life. You hear guys saying things like that in discussions. If you find the discussions completely outside the manosphere, listen to people talk, they talk different now. Men speak from a different perspective now. A perspective of having a better understanding of their position as when it pertains to them dealing with women. That's what you actually see. That's the only change that's happening. That's the only part where I could agree with this. That men don't see you and you being overweight. They don't see an overweight single mama as valuable no more. That's about it. And there's a number of things that he said that, because it's being said on a platform that big, a lot of men don't bite their tongue no more. That's about it. I give her that. I give her that. Men don't bite their tongue no more, or are less likely to bite their tongue. So yes, guys will quote Kevin Samuels in casual conversations. My woman actually told me that that she's seen multiple incidents or where people that she know would be talking to her and they would be telling the story and people randomly quote Kevin Samuels in arguments now out on the streets. Yes, the very words that are spoken, going back to the petition, the very words that were spoken on social media platforms have permeated in every facet of daily life for unsuspecting women. Yes, this is where you're talking about the, more or less the fact of the reality of it. The very words that were spoken, but the words that were spoken were not words with threats of violence and sexual predatory behavior. That's where you're wrong, saying that that's what was happening. But the only thing that was actually happening is that, women are being criticized in a more elaborate idea or notion of how black people should operate and how black men and women should operate towards each other have been promoted on a larger scale, and now those words are being talked about more. The discussion has changed. That's pretty much what she's saying here. When you take away all the fluff and the feathers, the conversation has changed, and I don't have as much leverage and status in the conversation anymore. That's what's essentially being said here. The very words that were spoken on social media platforms have permeated in every facet of daily life for unsuspecting women. Remove this leader of hatred against women. This leader of hatred against women. Removing this leader of hatred against women will bring reprieve for all of us. Please protect us from criticism. Is essentially the message. Shout out to Dr. Thunder in the building. He said a little something for the collection plate. Going to email you about a show idea. Keep grinding. Absolutely, Dr. Thunder. Shout out to you. Appreciate it. They definitely did a one-on-one about what things that the black church is not talking about. That was definitely a good one-on-one. Charles Merchant in the building says false accusations are her dog whistle to simps that fight for her, something like a bat signal. Oh yeah, a lot of the simps looking at this, they seen the bat signal in the air, they ready to go. Shout out to Counselor Murray. I think you sent another super chat that I missed it. I don't know if I read it, but Counselor Murray in the building, he says, black men are hearing the truth and logic. We have to cancel him because we can only flourish in dysfunction. Get out of there, Counselor Murray. Get out of there with that. Building, he says, when will these black women petition? Okay, I'm gonna not finish reading that one. Well, it's hard to petition that one. Well, I guess it's if you think Kevin Samuels is abusing women and they calling into the show signing up for the abuse, then I guess on the program that you talked about, that's the same thing. They show up signed up for the abuse, I guess. They got a petition against Kevin Samuels. They should have a petition against that, I guess. At first I thought you was just saying some wild stuff, but yeah, you kind of got a point now. Now that I had to step back and look at that, you kind of got a point. You kind of got a point. But yeah, man, that's the article right there. Evie now in the building with the super chat. Appreciate that. The link is in the chat, hopefully for Obsidian. I do not know if he's available or if he's ready to emerge from his time off, his absence. I don't know if he's ready to reemerge. I don't know, but the link is in the chat for the old man. Evie now in the building. She says, an American black woman friend said to me her hubby warned his friend against so that's a man warning another man against listening to Kevin Samuels because his girlfriend will leave. Oh my goodness, girlfriend will leave him. I told her that black women would be a fool to leave her man if he is a productive man. Absolutely. One. Shane Bitches in the building sounds like a fake grape. And those of you that don't know what grape means, Obsidian in the back chat, it's got to go down. Mr. Shane Vicious says she sound like a fake grape. Yeah, for those that don't know, drop the G from grape, and that's the word he's trying to say, but the YouTube algorithm does not like it when we say those type of words. A fake grape claim waiting to happen. Yeah, that's sort of what I got from that, because I mean, if you're gonna pin that many charges on a man publicly, you're gonna say this man is causing all of that. I gotta put you in like you categorically is on that effery. There's no other way to really look at that. But no, we about to get this thing started, about to get this thing going. But before we bring up Mumia Obsidian Ali, got to hear a brief 20-second word from our sponsor. Today's show is brought to you by the Division 6 comic book, created and produced by Michael Varner and executive producer Theodore Young. Division 6 is a James Bond meets Mission Impossible like geopolitical thriller. The protagonist is Seth Banks, an African-American male genius in cryptology and economics that secretly works for a rogue organization of the CIA called Division 6. Be sure to click the link in the chat room or in the video description to view the comic book. New chapters are added bi-weekly. All right, make sure y'all go click the link on that. And like I said earlier, he don't need none of your money. He just your views, your like. Just clicking the link, and if reading is fundamental to you, go ahead and read the comic book. But just your clicks is what helps everything going on right there. And yeah, my man Theo, the big money man, is the man behind the magic of that. Theo is the executive producer of that endeavor. So shout out to him when I say Theodore, executive producer Theodore Young. That is Theo Waff. Y'all know him from the chat, man, who did an excellent one-on-one. So shout out to him and shout out to everybody in the building. Show some love to Varner Comics. And with that said, we have the one and only emerging. I don't even know what to even call it, but we Obsidian. When we Obsidian back in the building. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Bernard?
Man, another day at the office. I was hoping to. I didn't know if you were going to reemerge, but I was definitely hoping to hear from you on this petition. So I'm glad you're here. You got to. Well, no. Before I even pass it to you on this topic, where the hell you been? What's going on?
Yeah, I was a bit indisposed over the past now over a month because pain management, man. Had the old work injuries expressing themselves, so I had to take a step back for a while. But over the weekend, everything started to dissipate finally. So I'm taking it easy. The only reason why I'm back on the air today is because you requested it. But I'm going to take it easy for the next few days to a week or so to make sure everything is okay. But yeah, that's what happened. I had, chronic back injuries ain't no joke, man. Chronic pain, period.
Yeah, is
nothing to play around with. That's been the the whole opioid piece, in the country. That's in part due to a lot of Americans dealing with chronic pain injuries of varying stripe. The late Rush Limbaugh had chronic back pain, and he ran into some trouble with the illegal procurement of opioids. But yeah, that's a thing. So
I never knew that was why Rush Limbaugh got in that trouble, because he had some chronic back pain and he was trying to, I guess, find a stronger dose to take care of it or something.
I don't know the exact details of it, but at some point he ran into some trouble legally.
Yeah,
because of course you need prescriptions and stuff like that, and doctors are very these days. Doctors are very hesitant to prescribe that. So
yeah, see, I just chalked it up to, okay, he pops pills, he's on drugs, I guess. I don't know, but now that it kind of makes sense now that you explained that he had some chronic pain problems. But
yeah,
but anyway, and we'll be remiss if we didn't mention that somebody threw out in the chat that somebody threw out there that you've been taking all this time off, all that Book of Obsidian money that you made. You've been out living it up, having a good time, but that's not been the case. You've been laid up.
Yeah, that's more the
okay.
reality. That's there.
Okay, it was my prediction that you was off in Uganda with O'Shea tricking off your money, but I'm glad to hear that necessarily wasn't the case. Even though that's not necessarily a bad idea, but I'm
yeah, the reports of me in the jungle tricking it up with O'Shea have been greatly exaggerated.
Yeah, see, I haven't heard nobody say that. That just came right from I just thought of that. That just popped in my head. But I haven't heard nobody saying that. But okay, all right. So be that as it may, the old man back in the building, and what's your thoughts on this topic?
Well, I heard in passing as I'm, laid up over the past, month, basically, I had heard a whole bunch of different things. And I had heard about this petition. I kind of, chuckled to myself because, we've been here before, I remember just getting started. I think I got started in the summer of 2015. So it's been 6 years. But in the first year, so that would have been 2016, there was a petition in the spring. And, it was a hit list, and, I was on it. Matter of fact, I was number 1 on the list. And, and Tommy Sotomayor was number 2. And O'Shea was in the top 5, and Angry Man, and, Mr. Jap was on it, everybody. Yeah. And some guys lost channels, never to return. But the vast majority of us just, took it in stride and kept right on getting up. So I'm sitting here like, we've been here already. We've done this before. Mm-hmm. It didn't work then. What makes them think it's going to work now?
Don't know, but they're going to try. They're going to try as they might. That's one thing that we can definitely count on, that they're going to take a stab at it. But their chances of success is not, like O'Shea talked about this, and he had brought up that Kevin Samuels, he follows YouTube guidelines really well. That's part of the reason, well, not the only reason, but you got to average that into the equation of the success of his channel. Following those YouTube guidelines to perfection will help grow your channel. So they're not going to ban them with anything as far as YouTube is concerned. So that's why I say they got nothing. That's why I put in the title, and O'Shea's and Guess Who's Mad. I said, and Guess Who Don't Care. The Guess Who Don't Care is ultimately comes out to that's us. We don't care. Try to do whatever you want to do. That's what it is.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm familiar with. I went and looked at the petition, and I see who the author is. And I'm familiar with the name in passing. I don't know her personally, but I'm familiar with the name. And I just don't see. My understanding is that this is a married woman.
Oh my goodness, that's even worse.
And so, if that's true, I'm trying to understand what's got under her bonnet, what the B is.
Just assume she wear a bonnet. Oh, yeah. But no, I don't get it. But what do you think about the point that I kept circling back to? And you had commented on this in the chat room. There are some things that Kevin Samuels says that when you look at, when you follow his message, when he's talking about, men need to elevate themselves, increase your value. And when you increase your value, once you get over 35 or by 40, you should be getting to the point where you definitely got it together. You're definitely doing well. You're definitely more successful. And that's the time when men should be looking to marry. And yes, you should be looking to marry a younger, fertile, fit, feminine, friendly, submissive woman who's going to pop out your babies while you're in position to take care of her and the babies. I can understand men giving some pushback to that, because if they took the time to work hard to build themselves up, they probably, they want to go and be free, travel, live in La Vida Loca, have a good time. But women are pushing back to that. A message that will ultimately lead women into a position where they will be where maybe not. I think I'm answering my own question here. No, I'm gonna let you answer it. Ultimately, if you follow his message down to its logical conclusion, Black women and Black children will end up more of them will end up in a situation where they are better protected for, better provided for, in an overall better living situation with better outcomes. Why is women pushing back against that message?
Well, it was interesting. We had an interesting conversation over the weekend about a very similar topic. It's pretty obvious. The women that have the most to say in opposition to Kevin at this juncture, and he got started doing what he's doing now over a year ago. So the women who are loud in opposition to him at this point are essentially outing themselves that they are the women that don't qualify. They don't qualify for the kind of men that that can give a, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, we're talking about guys who can give a woman a really good lifestyle. We're talking about an upper middle class lifestyle in Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, New York, LA, Bay Area, here in my home state, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, talking about the Delaware Valley, Bucks County, which is just north of Philadelphia, is one of the richest areas of real estate in the country. I mean, we're talking about you know, a good lifestyle, where they don't have to work, where children are sent to good private schools, where, you know, European style vacations are given, several car luxury luxury car garage. I mean, that's a, it's a good life. And it's clear that a lot of black women want that, but a lot of black women aren't qualified for it. You know, in a lot of ways, you know, Kevin is kind of like a loan officer, excuse me, or a like a loan officer, or a or you go to buy a car, you know, you talk to the loan guy, and he lets you know based on your credit what you qualify for. You know, you may want the Bugatti, or you may want the McLaren, or you may want the C8 Corvette, but you may qualify for a RAV4. And that's a hard thing for a lot of black women to take. You know, black women have never been told that before on such a big scale. And Kevin's done that. And Kevin has let a lot of black women know that they don't qualify. And, you know, for some black women, see, here's the thing. You can be a guy and kind of, you know, jerk off the first 20 years of your life and then turn it around by 40. It's very hard for a woman to do that. It's very hard to do. You know, pretty much the moves you make as a young woman pretty much set the tone for the rest of your life. And that's harsh to say. And for what it's worth, it is unfair, but it is life. So, you know, for a lot of, you know, women, in this case, black, they got to get it right the first time out the gate, because if they don't, it's very hard for them to recover. Very hard. Guys can recover, you know. Now, of course, there's a, you know, we can get into the weeds with it, but as a general proposition, a guy can pretty much piss off a good part of his life and still turn it around. But a woman can't do that. You know, she don't, you know, stay on the straight and narrow with it, man. She's gonna, you know, pretty much jack up her life. And I hate to say this, but a lot of black women have jacked up their lives. They pretty much disqualified themselves from ever getting the kind of black men that Kevin is talking about. I mean, they pretty much, they're done. It'll never happen. And so that's why I think we're getting, you know, what we're seeing right now.
I'm muted. I apologize. It adds a whole nother wrinkle to it when you average it to the fact that the woman who started the petition is a married woman. If anybody who would be on the side of that message, you would think it would be the married women. But yes, it is an obvious point. Like, we can see how and why the women who have already struck out will be against this message. I get that. I get that. You know, they're wrong. They're wrong on the merits of whatever points that they're trying to make, but I understand why they personally would be in their feelings about it. But I think that speaks to the lack of foresight, delayed gratification of black people when they're not looking at it from a big picture standpoint. big picture wise, even though, you're heading into 40, things, went the way that they went for you. You got knocked up by Nuck Nuck and J Rock them, and you thought that there was going to be some nice guy bailout plan in your mid 30s, and that didn't come. Somebody speaking a message that's going to ultimately increase the probability that your daughter is not going to go the same route and be in the same messed up condition that you're in. Again, it brings me back to that question: how could they have that much vitriol and pushback? It's a lack of foresight and delayed gratification, or just generational thought. Because sometimes you got to think further ahead to really get a message that somebody is talking about. Sometimes somebody who's really preaching or speaking to a good message, sometimes the message that they're speaking is not necessarily the message that the people today may not see the full results of the outcome. So it seems like they would be thinking like, yeah, I did it wrong. If I would have done it the way that he's saying do it, things would have worked out better for me. But at least my, 19, 20, 22-year-old daughter could possibly, have her head on straight. So maybe I need to listen to what he's saying and help, put that in her head. But they can't even think like that. They just miserable, bitter, upset because no. That guy that their daughter is going to qualify for. No. I want that guy right now with all my stretch marks, 50, 60 extra pounds, baby 3-time baby mama by 3 years old, or whatever. They still want that right now. If it ain't working out for their life, it's a bad message. We got to burn it to the ground. And that's unfortunate. It just shows the lack of foresight and just the overall thought process of a lot of women, a lot of black folks. I'll say a lot of black folks.
Yeah. To jump on the point about the age piece. So one thing I've noticed, and Kevin has fielded calls from, across the spectrum, lots of younger black women, lots of, older black women. But one thing I've noticed over the years, and then over the past year with Kevin in particular, I've noticed that the most of the activity, what I call the loudest voices in the room, they're coming solidly from middle-aged black folks.
Mm-hmm.
I hear a lot of talk, I read online and listen to a lot of people talk and whatnot. And there's a lot of talk about millennials, millennial this, millennial that. And what interests me about that is, the millennial generation starts in 1981. So we're looking at the oldest of the millennials now, they're 40.
Yeah.
You're looking at people born in the mid 1980s, they're in their mid 30s.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about solidly middle-aged black folks now. We're not even talking about Gen Xers like myself. So what's fascinating to me is that these conversations are taking place as if age isn't a factor. And I'm sorry, it is a factor. You're too old to be talking like this. I was the other day, it came up in my feed. Crystalline Carrison celebrated her 48th birthday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she was talking about how you can age gracefully and so forth. And I take nothing away from Crystalline. She looks fantastic for a woman of older age. I grant you all of that. But here's the problem, though. Again, you're too old. I mean, this is going to sound really harsh because they're going to be sisters that are going to be they're going to feel some type of way about this, but so be it. Look, man, men tolerate stuff from young chippies because they're young chippies. We can debate whether that's right or wrong. That's just the plain truth. Once you pass a certain age, we call it the wall. We could debate what that is. You're too old for this type of stuff. just too old. And a lot of black women, and everybody knows about my book, and everybody knows the basis of my book, and how it all starts off. I talk about the Black Love Machine. The Black Love Machine, if you think about the rank and file customer of the Black Love Machine, it ain't no 18, 19-year-old, 21, 22-year-old chippy. These are women at the very least deep in their 30s, if not 40s and 50s. They're too old. Too old to be talking about this stuff. It would make perfect sense to me if there were sisters that were 19, 20, 21, 22 that were talking greasy. Okay, fair enough. I mean, youth is wasted on the young. You do dumb stuff when I get that. But we got black women that are twice that age talking like that. Do you realize how much of a turnoff that is to brothers like me and Kevin? We're both the same age. It is a severe turn off to hear a sister that's deep in her 40s talking like she's 18.
Charles Merchant in the building with the super chat. He says they claim that Kevin Samuels' message indirectly incites violence against women without evidence of any growing violence against women. Yeah, that was bugging me when in that article, the no evidence claims of growing violence against women. Shout out to Charles Merchant in the building. Appreciate the super chat. And I saw Rod of God podcast back in here with another one. Rod of God, the Rod of God podcast says their trigger stripes be tiger stripes. Okay, got you.
Yeah, and
the tiger stripes BR, not stretch marks. Right on. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Go ahead, Obsidian. You were about to say something.
Yeah. So yeah. We really do need a different type of conversation at this point because, the age factor is a factor. And you talked about, black women, many of whom have kids and stuff like that. And, a lot of black women don't want to hear this, but I'm sorry, your past, it catches up with you.
Mm-hmm.
Guys make decisions based on what you did in your past with your body.
Yeah.
That's harsh. Is it harsh? Yeah, it is. Is it fair? No. But it's the truth. And I'm sorry, when men hear you making these decisions at the bloom of your youth, so reckless with your body, they're going to hold it against you. That's just the plain truth. If you can't, account for what you did with your body over the past quarter of a century, and it is so disappointing and sobering that over the past year plus, so few black women, I'm talking about older black, I'm not talking about black women that are younger, I'm talking about black women that are older, deep 30s and beyond, that so many black women that call in the Kevin show night in and night out on 2 platforms cannot give a simple accounting of what they've done with their body for the past 20 plus years is deeply disappointing. Deeply. I just like, because as a man, see, here's the thing with me. As a man, I understand that I have to have, a service record. If I want to be considered for anything in this world, I have to have a service record. I have to be able to account for what I've done with my life. A lot of black women, honestly, I'm talking about older black women now. The younger black women are exempt. If you're under 25, you're exempt. I'm talking about black women over 35, 35, 40, 45, 50. I'm talking about you. If you cannot even give a simple accounting of what you've done with your life, with your body over the past 20, 25 years, why should any black man of any consequence even consider you? And there is a real sense among black women that shouldn't matter. That it just shouldn't.
Drew M in the building with a super chat. He says, if 40-year-olds are talking like 18-year-olds, then it sounds like Arrested Development. Shout out to you, Drew M. Constable Murray in the building says, yeah, these 40s and 50-year-olds out here posting travel pics with city girls playing in the background. Then they quote Meg the Stallion. That's like me posting quotes of Kodak Black. Shout out to Counselor Murray. Appreciate the super chat. Definitely appreciate the super chat. Do you okay? No, I already asked you that. You said you're probably leaning towards probably taking another you said probably rest of the week off or what?
Yeah, because I don't want to, just jump right back into things. Take it easy. But yeah, this petition shows that a lot of black women for whom it applies don't have any arguments left, and that they don't qualify. And as I say in my book, mating is not, there is no EEOC of mating.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an affirmative action plan. No, it's not a right. You don't get a Idris Elba in every pot. You don't have the high value man grab bag there. It doesn't work that way. You have to qualify for them, and they have their qualifications and standards, and a lot of black women don't meet them.
Right on. If you are new here to the channel, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Gail just posted the petition. Is that the? Yeah, I see. I didn't even post that. I would, I didn't even want to send people to it, but yeah, it's there if y'all want to go read it. If y'all want to go read it, Gail just posted it in the chat. I don't care to even post that. I did want to read it. I did want to read it and talk about what was said in there, because what was said in there is ridiculous. But I didn't want to. Don't float the link. Don't float the link in there. People find it, they find it. But Grown Man Business in the building says we have actually seen an increase in female violence against men. That's part of the reason why Kevin Samuels don't flinch a lot of the times when they say that it was violence in a relationship. He wants the details and explanations of that. And that was part of the reason, at least Crystal and Karazin's excuse for going on I shouldn't have said her name, but the swirl girl. That was part of her reason or excuse for going on a multi-month-long video campaign. Just the notion that he incites violence towards women, like, and we know that's a baseless claim and all. But do you got any thoughts on that one? Like, why leap to that far with it? That's my thing. Why leap that far? You don't like what he's saying. Why are they leaping all the way to he's increasing the rates of violence against women? Like,
no, you're just throwing everything against the wall, see what sticks.
Throw a bunch of spaghetti against the wall and see what's going to stick. Shout out to Grown Man Business. Me and GMB gonna finally get together, do a stream together eventually. He's a trucker. He's on the road. I think he said in the email he's gonna be back in, I don't know, 20 days or so. We're gonna try to get something worked out. I gotta send you back another email, but no, me and GMB got to do a long overdue one-on-one. But yeah, it was. It's crazy. Evie now said they crying wolf out here. They crying wolf and selling wolf tickets. Yeah, shout out to GMB said 100. But no, definitely. What I was trying to get at is it was so many things wrong. So many things wrong with that petition. As far as the petition itself, no, it don't got legs. It ain't going nowhere. It ain't gonna do nothing. They don't have no grounds to get anybody removed from anything. But for me, it was more so just the words that ultimately came off the page, the things that they actually took the time to write, and how inaccurate, how ridiculous it was, how crying wolf it was, as people are saying. It was almost an embarrassment. Like, is that your argument? Is that really your argument? Is that really what you got to say against what Kevin Samuels is saying? A bunch of stuff that's just patently, just 100% not true. Shout out to Sick Lid, said these African American women still getting their groove on in these third world nations, coming back with. All right, I mean, we saw Stella got her groove back, and we know how that played out. So I mean, all right. I don't know why coming back with down low, brother. I mean, we do know what famously happened in a Terry McMillan book. Well, it wasn't in the book, but that the real life version of what happened. That's ultimately what it came down to. That's what. But I don't know if that's happening on a large scale. They coming back with down low brothers, but they do be on them trips trying to get their groove on, trying to get their groove back. But we have a new contestant to The Price is Right here, Marina, in the
Hello.
building. You have the floor. You have the mic. Hello.
How you doing today? I
Doing
am a
wonderful.
first time caller, and I would like to sit there and say for we as women, it is so unfortunate that we don't realize that we have no standards to ourselves anymore. There's not a line that we as women that we're never going to go beneath anymore. We're wanting a guy so much that we base our guys on image. We don't base it upon what he's doing in his life. What kind of a father would he be in the future for our children? You know, what kind of relationship does he have with his family? Who are the people that he hang around? You know, what is his goals in life? Those are the last thing we as women look for. I can remember back in the day when my grandmother and my mother and them was growing up, they didn't just pick a guy because he looked good. They chose a guy that was going to be a leader of his home, the one that was going to be the provider. And she, as herself, knows as a woman what she was supposed to do. But within the late 80s, coming around in the 90s, you have these rappers that started saying, no, you women have to dress like this in order for me to give you a time of a day. And guess who the first women that took those positions? The most attractive women belittled themselves. So any other woman, and this is important, and I know women don't like to talk like this, but it's the reality. If the most attractive woman belittle herself and have no standards, it's any other woman below her, no other man is going to really even see her, because he's going to say that the highest of the girl, that's the most attractive, belittled herself to where she has nothing on. She let a man call her bees, just very disrespectful. So women fight with each other. It's so sad for a guy like that. Whereas the guy that speaks the truth to a woman and say, you don't have to belittle yourself. All you have to have is some kind of integrity and pride about you. Men gonna follow because he's gonna need you, in some way or the other. But women don't look at it like that. We in so much competition with each other. I want to get this man, I want to get that man, without realizing we continue to lower our standards. So now we continue to have these babies by these same men that we fell in love with their image. Not again because he had the good job.
When you say let me jump in. Let me jump in. You said a lot of stuff that was worthy of responding to. When you say we fell in love with their image, what kind of image was that? What kind of image are you talking about?
The women, or the men?
No, you said the women fell in love with their image.
Yes,
describe that image. What kind of image are you talking about?
The guy that's the hardest. It's so sad. The one who act the hardcore, the one who have the swag, the one that dress a certain way. That's it. He doesn't have to have too many more qualification. If he have some pretty good friends that's the same way, he can be a guy that sell drugs, a guy, like I said, just out in the streets. As long as he got that swag, oh, she gonna holler at him. Well, why would you want that guy when you already have a history? See, we have a history, and this is what we women have to see. I see women that's 10 years or 15 years older than me, knowing the direction of when you get these kind of a guys, what it leads to. So why in the world, if you know that, why do you continue to repeat history as if you're going to get a different result when you get with that guy? You got with him knowing that he wasn't even right, but had the nerves to assume. And that's our problem. Assuming that once you get with him, you're going to change that man. He showed you from day one exactly how he was going to be before you even got with him. But you assumed because you felt so much for that image. You thought that, yeah, he go to concert, a lot of popular people. I want in this scene without realizing all the other things that, well, doesn't work like he doesn't save his money. He has no investment. He has nothing. But we get so trapped up and happy being his trophy woman because while we're going places that we normally wouldn't go to. So
wait, hold on. Let me push pause. Let me push pause real. Hold on. Wait, time out. Let me push pause. Let me push pause. Wait, hello. Can you hear me? Hold on. The Goldie Jones channel. I believe that's the same name that I saw on the petition. If you're the one who wrote that petition, then the link is in the chat for you. The link is in the chat for you, Goldie Jones. If you are the one who wrote that petition, you are being called to the principal's office, Goldie Jones. The link is in the chat for you. And since we got a slight break in the action, shout out to Jessica X. She says, "We miss you, Obsidian. We miss you." Shout out to Jessica X and Obsidian. You were temporarily muted because I was getting some feedback right there, but now you're back online. Splatterhouse tenant Canasta, I think that's how I pronounce that. I could be dead wrong. Said, can anyone point me to a date or period of time during which the Wigged one was ever relevant to anyone other than her crowd of wannabes and scorn broads? Don't worry, I'll wait. Thank you for the super chat. Definitely appreciate that. All right. Obsidian, did you hear anything that you want to respond to?
I want to thank the lady for sharing.
Okay. Obsidian didn't have anything to say on that. But no, in general, most of what you said, once you got going and made it down the yellow brick road you were going on, yes, I do agree with the points that you were making, and Goldie Jones is going to decline. Goldie Jones is going to decline this time. Send me an email. I want to talk and go over the claims that was made in your petition, not just the mere fact that you created the petition. I want to go over line by line the things that you said, and can you substantiate those claims that you made in the petition? That's what I want to go over. We can do a whole show on that. You can have your big special day. But all right, the
last thing that I would want to say, and I just had a question. Do you guys believe that the only way that women can change the direction that we are going, that it will have to take a very attractive woman to set that tone for all the other ladies?
Well, I'll pass it to Obsidian and see what he wants to say on that. But very briefly, I understand what you're saying because that's, to some degree, that's how Black people operate. They got to see a leader, somebody, a big image that he put up there, like Shahrazad Ali could say it, but that's that old bat. What do we care what she say? But if somebody who they actually look to as this really attractive woman that they want to be like is saying it, then that might make a difference. However, they may just look at her as just a traitor, pick me, mammy, or I mean, the general public don't use those words, but those are the words online. But they still may look at her just as a traitor against women, and then move on and find their next, Cardi B or Meg Thee Stallion to emulate. So, but I don't know. That's my brief take on that. But go ahead, Obsidian. The question was asked, Obsidian, and I'm sure you would like to answer.
Yes.
That's your answer to the question.
Yes.
Okay. Obsidian, you're not very talkative today, Obsidian. You don't like Marina?
No, I don't dislike her at all. It's a very simple question. Would it go over better if you had a really good looking woman leading it? The answer is yes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
my question, what I'm trying to say is that not just the women focus, because like I said, women follow other women. That's just how it just really goes. But I'm saying from a man's perspective, it will have to take that attractive woman again to set that tone of when he's coming at her, not like a man. She's setting that standard and saying, I'm not going to go below it. No, if you're not going to come at me as a man, then anything else I'm not going to accept. Do you believe that it would take an attractive woman to get the attention of all these other men out here to say, oh, okay, I see there's a different level these women are going on now?
Yes.
Versus if a person that just look okay, a woman look okay, can she do it? I don't think a woman could do it. I think it has to take a very attractive woman to set that tone to say to the other gentleman, no, I'm not going below it. And then all the other women, I'm sorry, just follows.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. Right. It was my first time, so I appreciate
it. Yeah, thank you for coming up. You did good. Okay, all right. Thanks. Yeah. Destro1 in the building says she's not yours. I think that the dash should be after in between yours and its. It shouldn't be she's not yours, it, then pause, just your turn. It should be, she's not yours, pause, it's just your turn. But anyway, that has nothing a lot to do with the topic or the subject right now. but there's some truth in that statement. Depending on how you're getting down, who you're messing with, how you're rolling out there. It's a lot of truth in that statement. Tomcat in the building says Kelvin is mild. Kevin is mild. They need to be bashed back into correct behavior and away from gender confusion. What do you mean by bashed back into correct behavior? Kevin is mild.
That's interesting.
Yeah, mild. They need to be bashed.
I understand is that Goldie had made a video. We might maybe in lieu of her declining to come on today, maybe we can view her video, and that can give us some better insight as to why she made the petition.
Yeah, we probably can do that. That might work. That might definitely work. But yeah, no, Tomcat, I think you're tripping. I don't know what you mean by bashed back into correct behavior, and away from gender.
Well, maybe he's into hate effing.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah, just real talk. Comments like that does, even though it's not legit, that they would say that and say, look at what Kevin Samuels is doing right there. But that you do give them the fuel they need, that they could take a random faceless person in the chat and say, look what this person said right there, and then pin that on Kevin Samuels and say, violence against women, even though I don't know. The word bash is normally a word that's used when it's talking about verbally beating somebody up. But I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you mean. Bash.
Well, some black people like that. They like when it's hot and sweaty, that's when it's rough and ready. They like that. Earlier you talked about a couple, you were saying about Kevin's show, and this goes back to the petition, Goldie, about one couple who it came out over the course of the conversation Kevin was having with this lovely lady that her and her husband had been cheating on each other, beating on each other.
Yeah.
You don't think that there was a hate effing going on there?
of course, yeah, well, there was all kind of stuff going on there. Some people, some put. What happens is sometimes it be a mutually crazy relationship, and then when the relationship is over, the woman in the equation cries victim, even though it was just mutual cheating, violence, verbal, physical, emotional abuse in every way on all sides. But when it's all said and done, yeah, the woman gets to cry victim. Yeah, and there are some people who they're comfortable in those type of relationships. I can't do it, want no part of it. But there are some people who are comfortable in those type of relationships.
Right.
They find
Now,
it nice.
are you familiar with the name Marvin Gaye?
Yes.
Marvin Gaye's first wife, Anna Gordy Gaye, they had that same dynamic. They cheated on each other, they beat on each other, and they hate effed each other. As a matter of fact, after they got divorced, they continued to hate F each other, even though they was no longer married. Even though Marvin Gaye had moved on to who would become his second wife, Jan, he was still hate effing Anna Gordy Gaye. That is the dynamic in Black America, the hate effing dynamic.
The Standard Rick in the building says Goldie Jones' channel has a video on her page for why she made the petition. It's titled "Some of You Black Men Are Embarrassing." All right, we probably gonna play it. Well, if she will make a petition, she will flag a video for playing her stuff. That's something to average into the equation. Maybe she can give permission in the chat for us to play it. If she gives permission in the chat right now for us to play it, I'll play it. Put it like that. Keep an eye on it, y'all, because I don't watch the chat very well. But if she gives permission, I'll play it. I'm not trying to have her. If she'll make a petition charging somebody up with all the stuff she charged Kevin Samuels up with it, yeah, be careful playing her stuff. But Cornelius Bellamy in the building says attractive women don't have those problems. This is why they are mostly silent. Shout out to Cornelius Bellamy. I think I may have missed some super chats. Let's see. Black women and people in general are hard-headed as F. Okay, yeah. If you're just saying they're hard-headed, yeah, cool. We got you on that. We got you on that. They've had Michelle Obama. Who next? Okay, you got a good point. They did have a good figurehead. They did have a good figurehead that they all right. Fair point there. They've had a figurehead. She didn't exactly take up the cause, but she was a good, person to have right there. Thank you, Stoic One, asking that question, and we'll await an answer. I'm sure she's still listening. But Game Changer in the building. Go ahead. You got the floor. You got the mic.
All right. Thanks, Bernard. Welcome back, Obsidian. So a moment ago, you mentioned, the so-and-so that swirls, and you was talking about her month-long campaign against her, against Kevin Samuels. Yeah, exactly. So I want to give my hypothesis on exactly why that was. Mm-hmm. So as Obsidian pointed out earlier, the so-and-so that swirls, she was pretty, flirtatious when she called Kevin Samuels. When she was talking to him, she seemed mighty interested. Now, ever since I exposed the fact that she isn't married and hasn't been married for quite some time, it would make sense that that was actual genuine flirting, and that she actually had genuine interest in Kevin Samuels as a newly single woman that he did not reciprocate. Now, this will trigger thoughts of rejection and feelings of rejection that she had from the, high value Black man that fathered her first daughter. So basically, she went back into her college mode and got in her fifis again, and then had a month-long lash out against Kevin Samuels. That's my theory. She basically wanted the D, and he didn't want to give her the D.
I think you got a pretty good theory on that. I didn't average into the equation that, because she came off flirty it's no way around
And
that.
he didn't reciprocate.
Yeah. She came off very flirty, and he was basically just flatline, just numb to it, whatever. And she ultimately got pissed. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, she was rejected, and I can understand that it is a bad feeling, knowing that even with her liposuction, and for those of you who do not know,
whoa, what you talking about?
Oh yeah, Crystal Kerrison had liposuction. Did I mention that Crystal Kerrison had liposuction? Yeah, Crystal Kerrison had liposuction. So the liposuction
game changer. Yeah. You're going to have to stop saying Crystal Kerrison had liposuction, because
my bad.
People are going to start repeating that Crystal Kerrison had liposuction. So you need to stop doing that.
My bad. I don't want people to repeat that Crystal Kerrison had liposuction, because
all right, we done.
Okay.
We done. Right. Hold on, Jay. Shout out to Riz Jeezy 40 in the building. Y'all know I try to keep it clean, but I couldn't help that one. And shout out to Steph is Cold in the building. Shout out to Steph is Cold. Salute to that brother. He always come through hard and heavy-handed with the super chats. And y'all know how we do whenever we get $100 super chat. We gotta have Smokey count it and make sure it's all there.
20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140.
That's $100.
Shout out to Steph is Cold. Had to stop this show.
It's a double feature. I want to see that Friday skit again.
Wait, hold on. Did he send two of them?
Yeah.
I see two of them on the. Oh shit, he did it.
Yeah, it's a double, man.
Oh, good. God dang, got shit. All right. Gotta roll it again.
20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140.
That's $100.
Crystal, man, y'all gotta go on, man. He said, so Crystal got lipo. All right, this is some new stuff on me, man. I didn't know. I don't know how you know that.
Well, she said it on an interview she did with Shira 7. She was saying that Crystal Kerrison had liposuction.
Oh, well, I guess it's public information. So I'm thinking that you did some undercover 007 Mission Impossible type work to unearth that information, but she just said it on a live stream, so it is what it is at that point. But all right, shout out to Snuggles in the building.
Hi, I'm Snuggle. Snuggly softness. That's really less expensive.
Shout out to Snuggles, because someone explained to me what liposuction is, and then explain the procedure, how it is done. And could you also remind me who had liposuction? Okay, I'm not going to remind you who had liposuction, and you know what liposuction is. It's just a different procedure when performing it on a stuffed bear. They just cut you open and then take out your stuffing and then sew you back up. It's a different procedure. That's all.
Yeah, provided that stuffing's fat. Fat that she claimed to work out for. But no, the thing is that in spite of everything, even at her best 47-year-old self, she still failed, because her best 47-year-old self is not good enough. And I think that, the month-long campaign against Kevin Samuels was really in retaliation to yet another, top-tier Black man rejecting her. It kind of brought back like traumatic PTSD flashbacks from the first Black man that rejected her, that made her write the swirling book and everything like that. So this is just another lash out.
Yeah, another iteration of that. That was basically, she's not going to write a whole book on Kevin Samuels, but she did do a pretty extensive YouTube video campaign against him after the rejection.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting theory you got going there. Interesting theory. So yeah, I think you're right. What's your overall thoughts on this petition that's put out there, and not just the mere fact that somebody took the time to write the petition, but no, the words that are written in the petition, assuming that you've read it.
Yeah, I mean, these are just tactics that, like Obsidian said, we've seen before. But they're disguising their intention to stop certain rhetoric or certain truths to be spoken online. They're disguising it as a petition to protect. By doing this, you will be protecting us from something. Now, you mentioned that.
From criticism.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Obsidian, it was you that mentioned. Obsidian mentioned that she was married, and you were asking why would a married woman do this? And the reason is simple. A lot of women are upset because they married their backup, the backup person, meaning that there was a choice man that they had, and then there was a plan B. Whenever a woman marries a plan B, she feels failed as a woman. Take Crystal Harrison, for example. She married her plan B and then divorced her plan B, and now she's dealing with plan E. So there is a certain frustration that comes with that. And she's basically petitioning so more women don't have to resort to marrying their plan B. If that makes sense.
Well, see, here's the thing. It's automatically going to happen with what she's saying, because she's pushing back against the notion, the concept that of the limited options for the mid 30s going into the 40s baby mama. Even though she used to say, no wedding, no womb, but now she's saying, oh, it's not over for you. There's still so much out there for you. But either way it go, if you find yourself closing in on 40 with multiple kids and you're single, you're operating on plan B status no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know how it could be that she's trying to fight for other women to not have to end up with the plan B. No, you are on plan B status.
No, she agrees, and she regrets being in plan B status.
Okay, so yeah.
Her plan A was, the first child of her daughter, trying to trap him with a baby. That didn't work. So yeah, she went to plan B. Now, as far as no wedding, no womb goes, it really doesn't make sense when you divorce a guy, because it's like you had the wedding, you gave the womb, and then now you don't have the marriage from the wedding, and the children still need to be raised. I would assume that the purpose of no wedding, no womb would be so that the kids would be raised in a married household. But that doesn't seem to be the case. It seemed like the purpose of no wedding, no womb was just to have a wedding. The kids are no longer being raised in a 2-parent household. So what was the whole point of no wedding, no womb? Just saying.
Yeah. That's an issue. They want the wedding, but then they filed for divorce, as the manosphere has unearthed and pulled out the data that is accurate about how many women actually file for the divorce. Some will try to argue.
And just for the record,
mm-hmm.
It's my understanding that the former Miss Karasin has 4 children in total. One that Game Changer spoke to is of adult age, but the other remaining 3 are, to my understanding, at present are not.
Yes.
So I just wanted to say that for the record.
No, that's true. In fact, I spoke to her personally, and I asked, is her current situation, her current household successful? And she said, or a successful family rather. And she said, yes, because they are 2 participating adults, that both of them are participating in the rearing of the children financially and otherwise. So that being said, her first baby daddy didn't really do anything wrong because he was a participating father in his daughter's life. So I don't see what the purpose of a wedding if you consider success broken home, or a broken home a success.
Hang on a second. So we're revisiting the whole baby daddies are equal to husbands argument?
Well, that's what she said. I don't actually agree with that, but that's what she said to justify her petitioning her most recent Mr. Karasin for divorce.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay when they do it. it falls under that category. It's one of those. It's okay when we do it, but we demand a wedding in exchange for access to our womb, but we will eventually make a child a bastard in arrears because vagina.
Yeah, I think this. I mean, it's almost like a long-winded way of speaking to what Kevin Samuels talks about when he was calling women home wreckers, and they're like, "Well, what do you mean a home wrecker? Okay, did you wreck your home? Did you leave your family? How did the situation end? How did it break up? When you scratch beneath the surface, you find out that they were the ones that broke it off. They ended it. They're the home wreckers. I think that's in a roundabout way what you're. I mean, well, at least what your point that you're making is hovering around. Then why on their end push no wedding nor womb if it's a very flimsical nature in which you would just get a divorce,
right, and still count that as success, still count having been married a success, even though it's not really successful rearing of children now.
Yeah, and to be fair, I haven't followed this, but especially over the past month, Game Changer probably would know better than me. But as far as I know, the former Miss Carrison has not squared the circle on this. In other words, she hasn't come forward to the public to basically do some splaining on this. How do you, in light of what Game Changer pointed out, no wedding, no womb, and so forth, how do you make the argument that it's okay at this juncture, you being the standard bearer and apostle of this whole swirling movement, to now divorce several young children involved underage? How do you square that? As far as I know, she hasn't done that yet.
No, she hasn't. She feels that it's perfectly okay. Now, she didn't mention the fact that the guy is still a functioning father to the children, just in separate households. Really shows that he was not too bad of a person. There's no beating or anything like that involved, or anything that would make him a hazard to the children themselves, meaning that she did it for her own personal reasons. And somebody super chatted you, Bernard, saying that sometimes women get liposuction, and Kristen Carrison had liposuction. So sometimes what they do is they start feeling themselves, and then they leave the man that they're with. Now, it is very
somebody recently did I think Donovan Sharp recently did a stream on that about a woman. He showed her before and after. She was fat when she was married, and then while married, she lost a lot of weight. She got her body back right somewhat, and then right when she got back right, she filed for divorce and went out there and got single, and so she can mangle. So yeah, anyway,
exactly.
Carry on.
Oh no. So once again, my theory is that she got her liposuction. You remember Kristen Carrison had liposuction. She left her husband, and then step 3 was to find a different mate, i.e. Kevin Samuels. So basically, when Kevin Samuels rejected Kristen Carrison, What's that African basketball player name? I'm not really following.
Dikembe Mutombo.
Yeah, exactly. When Kevin Samuels did the finger, oh no. I got that from the Geico commercial. When Kevin Samuels rejected Kristen Carrison, she was standing there like, but I got lipo and I'm single. And the feeling of rejected lipo really just kind of stuck with her. That's my theory, at least.
Spiritual Logic, aka Hawk, in the building with the super chat, man. Yeah, killing me. But shout out to Spiritual Logic, Hawk, with the $20. Appreciate you.
I want 150,000. So we can settle out of court right now for $20.
Man, get your.
All right, dude. I keep her name to a minimum over here, but he says he went to a live stream of the Wigged one to check it out. It was like a scene from the movie Temple of Doom. 1K plus black women hypnotized, chanting death to black men. Felt like a cult. It was scary, downright satanic stuff. Okay. I don't know about the. Well, they recently been doing some tarot card stuff. I have not watched any of that. I saw a little bit. I saw like half of David Carroll's video on that. I don't know what's going on, but when you say cult, hypnotized, chanting death, and tarot cards, and some, what do you call those things where they get the little dial and they what is it called?
Witchcraft.
Well, yes, yeah, well, yeah, okay, all right, yeah. Witchcraft is the one thing, but it's a particular practice where you use a dial that's supposed to be the person. I don't know, but anyway. And have you seen anything on that one, on that front right there? Since we deep upfield, I think Voodoo Dow is what it is. But anyway, I think they one step away from Voodoo Dow, Kevin Samuels Voodoo Dow. They one step away from that. But anyway, have you seen anything? Have either of you seen anything on that front? And I don't even want to spend that much time talking about.
Yeah, I've heard about it in passing, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I don't know that much about that. I mean, that type of stuff don't scare me. Like that, just whatever. It's just ridiculous.
Well, it does show a level of desperation, though.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It does show an unhealthy level of desperation and anger and resentment. That's misplaced, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Anger and desperation is misplaced. Where should it be placed?
It should be placed on the previous generation. It should be placed on the female boomers, is where it should be placed, because, you know, they took the culture out of traditional mating habits and brought them into as the woman. I think her name was Marisha.
That is what he was saying. That's what he was
exactly.
getting at. That's why, even though it was all over the place, embedded into what she was saying, it was a good linear point that she was trying to make. Yeah.
Well, no, she had a lot of points, and I think she wanted to get like a lot of what she wanted to say out, being her first time calling.
That's what I hate about the first time caller. Is like everything that they ever wanted to say, they want to get it in one paragraph. I'm like, just you don't got to do that. But anyway, go ahead. I keep interrupting you. My fault. Go ahead.
No worries. But no, I think that she wanted to. How can I say? That she was pointing to that is the generation that they should be pointing their anger towards. Mm-hmm. But because, you know, their mothers and things like that is more of a reflection of themselves, they don't wish to do that, and they just come at us with it, with their prayers and their curses and, you know, their voodoo dolls or whatever they do.
Mm-hmm. KD says, I dropped in on that channel that day. They were talking about aborting black sons after the that's aborting black sons after the ultrasound. That's bad as it get. That's bad as it get when they talking about that. But then they they'll still charge Kevin Samuels up with increasing violence and death rates of women. But then
Nagone is in the chat room, and he reminds me that a few years back we talked about.
Who was in the chat room? Who did you say?
Nagone 11. He reminds me that a few years back we talked about a very similar topic of some of the lovely ladies, working with Ouija boards and that sort of thing. So yeah, this has been around for a while. I mean, it's a repeat. It's basically a retread of what's already been tried. I guess they're going to give it the old college try one more time, right?
Yeah, I think I actually remember that stream. I was just in the clouds listening back then. I remember I think Baba Tunde was in on that one. But what was funny, was stuck out to me, I think Nagone said, and Nagone, I apologize if I'm paraphrasing it wrong, but I think one of his ex-wives was doing some weird stuff, putting, I don't know, sand or salt in his shoe that was supposed to do something. I don't know, all kind of weird stuff going on. Like I know somebody that, well, no, I'm not gonna get into that because they listening, they know I'm talking about them, so I ain't about to get into that. But yeah, it'd be some guys that be in full-blown relationships with women that be doing weird stuff with chicken bones and spaghetti and all kind of, shout out to Sister George. But all right,
that's definitely one of the things you don't want to mess with them Neo Soul sisters, man. You don't want to eat anything from them that comes out of a pot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you don't want the funny spaghetti. Don't want the funny spaghetti. That's just like an odd color of red. We all know what the color of red look like, but then there's sometimes where the color red that's a different color that's a different type of red I'm seeing right there in that pot of spaghetti. Yeah, you gotta be careful. You gotta be real careful.
By the way, you know that there are
hashtag free curling. All right,
there are some sisters out there that believe that by steaming the nether regions that will purify things down there.
Steaming it?
Yes.
Well, like standing over a boiling pot, like
cocking over a steaming, get some steam up in there.
Yeah, I've seen a tribe do that. That's true because they're running low on water, so that was their hygiene, so to speak.
So they just stood over a boiling pot and let it go up. And you said you saw?
No, there was like an incense type thing that they had that they burned, not steam but smoke. It was an incense type thing that they burned and put it under.
You smoke too?
Yeah.
So the term "you're blowing smoke up my ass" is literal out there.
I mean, I can't really make fun. There's a water shortage, but and we had those here in Cali, but yeah, so to speak, yeah.
So I guess they're smudging the vag.
What was the steam and smoke supposed to do? It was just supposed to clean, make it fresh and clean.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
You are out there amongst hold on. You are out there amongst the locals. So I mean, I'm going to ask you a personal question. Did it work?
You asking me? No, I was never there. I'm saying I seen this on the show. I seen this.
I thought amongst your truckers, you be traveling, you be in the Philippines and all over.
No, I've never been to the Motherland. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I'm thinking in your travels, you encountered a tribe that did this. That's how the women cleaned themselves down there. So if you were there amongst the locals, I'm assuming you perhaps partaked,
So I guess they're using herbs and spices down there.
Yeah, I mean, hey, absent water, you become creative.
Ike Ogiamian is telling us that it works.
Oh well, there you go. I mean,
so I guess
he's from there. He's been there.
Yeah, and
so I guess it brings. Well, he needs to come up and tell us all about it because I guess that brings new meaning to the term. They want all the smoke.
I'm not supposed to laugh at a water shortage, but you cold, Obsidian. You cold, but I mean, yeah, it's a water shortage, and they're dealing with it the best they can. I'll leave it at that, But
so they got smoke going out their back end there.
Yeah. I found the conversation that you was looking for, where she was trying to justify the no wedding, no womb, against the divorce. Here, let me play it for you. I'll just do audio only.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So here we go. Fair use.
The parents are working to care for their children, care for their welfare, make sure that they are being protected and being provided for. Yes, that's a functional family. And
what I define as functional is
despite you guys celebrating and dancing around the fire about a divorce that I'm having, I was married for 20 years. I've been married for 20 years. That's not a failure, sir.
Is it a success?
I would say yes. I have, and I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Because for our family, we are still a functioning family where I still have a pleasant and friendly relationship and a cooperative relationship with their father. And we work together to take care of our children despite sleeping in different bedrooms.
Yeah, no. Okay. So what I define as a functioning family, and this is what, so that's her definition of a functioning family or a successful family. I asked if she described or if you feel that situation is a success, and she said yes. Breaking up a home is a success to her. So was that the explanation you were looking for, Obsidian?
Yeah, I just okay. All right.
Yeah, it was disturbing to me too.
I mean, because if the argument is there's a dearth of eligible black men that want to be married, if the argument is black women need to expand their marital options, if the argument is black women have better marital outcomes with non-black and particularly white men, then how do you square what Crystalline just did?
Well, she squares it as a success. And
nobody defines a divorce as a success. Nobody.
Well, she does. as long as he still keeps taking care of the kids, she defines it as a successful.
Then by that same argument, any black man who does the exact same thing is also a success, and she doesn't consider it that way.
Well, you gotta
understand.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you gotta understand, Obsidian, it's wrong when black men do it. You know, like if black men say no to a black woman.
She has single-handedly. I'm just going to go ahead and say this.
Okay.
You know, all the. You notice I stayed quiet with the other commentary earlier. I'm not going to get into that. I'm sticking on this point. She has single-handedly undermined the entire veracity of her entire argument. She's completely dismantled it by herself. I mean, she's completely hoisted herself on her own petard. Period.
Agreed. I want to correct somebody's. Odysseus says CK is a tart at best. I want to correct you there. It is no longer CK. It is now CR. It is now CR. She went from Mrs. Karazin.
Don't say her current last name.
Oh, okay.
Out there. Just don't say it.
Okay. But yeah, it's the initials is R now. It's CR. She lost the K in the divorce. So it's CR. That's all I want to correct.
Yeah, I just don't see how anybody on that side of the ledger can, with a straight face at this juncture, continue to make the argument that black women have better marital outcomes with non-black men in light of the former Miss Karazin. And there have been numerous accounts of black women partnered with white or otherwise non-black men that didn't go down very well either. I just don't see how anybody can make that argument at this point.
Right. Well, I agree. I mean, it's not an argument. Like, I think that's why it was, attempted to remain hidden that the first marriage didn't last.
All right,
but he's from Canada.
we got a live one in the chat. But before I get to that, Evie now in the building. She says no, it doesn't. Talking about the blowing smoke up the ass method of cleaning your nether regions. She says no, it doesn't. LOL, doesn't work. She means they get cooch infections. Just eat clean, ladies, and work out. All right.
Have you ever had smoked fish?
There's no water. Why would she say that? There's no water.
Have you ever had smoked fish?
Yeah. No, I was sent to the. Don't judge people. It's no water.
Well, maybe if there's enough smoke. But what about hickory? Maybe they do some hickory smoke and put that up there. That might. That's.
I don't know, but the live one in the chat says Bernard, Kevin has told women to stay in abusive relationships. Acknowledge this, please. No. What he has said is that in situation there has been some relationships where a woman did talk about there being some abuse, and quite often when he interrogates it, he finds out that it's flimsy or no evidence or it was mutual combat, and he has said, yeah, I probably should try to work it out, get therapy. He's advocated for families staying together. He doesn't advocate for women to just go get beat up by men. So to make it seem like that, because the reality is in some marriages there is some domestic violence. Sometimes we got the data to show that a lot of the time, most of the time, is mutual. If they got children and they're married and they can get some therapy and work out their issues, whether it's some therapy, some counseling, anger management, if they could do something to try to get that family to stay together, that is typically a good thing. He's advocated for that. Don't try to spin that and say he's advocating for violence against women. That's what the person who wrote the petition tried to do. And hopefully I can get her on for a one-on-one. We can go line by line on the claims that she made in the petition. But anyway, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. You paid $5 to say something stupid, so I like to properly acknowledge you. Way to go. Houdini Unchained in the building says, why would she initiate divorce from a good man? Game Changer says that she Game Changer has a theory on that. And she got light cold with this money. No, just one. All right.
Well, no, she wanted to cast her bait out there again, and it wasn't eaten by the fish that she wanted. Kevin Samuels is pretty much it in a nutshell. You know, because it's old bait, and no matter how your liposuction and your surgeries and your injections and all of that, no matter how much of that you do, it still doesn't take away the fact that you are a woman of a certain age. You know, Kevin Samuels seemed quite comfortable in the company of Jenny Babas, as most men would be, who is younger, hotter, sexier, childless than Crystalline Karazin. In fact, Jenny Babas is closer to Crystalline Karazin's daughter's age than she is to Crystalline Karazin's age. So, yeah, that is the company that he prefers to keep. She came to that realization after filing for the divorce. So, you know, it's
Ricardo Rodney in the chat is saying, Bernard Riley, don't trust Cody Jones. I don't even know what you mean by don't trust Cody Jones. I wasn't bringing her up as an ally so we can get up here and sing Kumbaya. Oh no, it was she was going to get thoroughly picked apart every line that she said in the petition. So not a trust or not trust thing. It's a can she substantiate the claims that she made type of deal. So trust. I can not trust her, and yeah. So trust wasn't on the table. She's already arguing in bad faith, and trust me, I know that. And if you watch the beginning of the show, you know that I know that. I picked apart how she's arguing in bad faith. He says, I have nothing against Kevin Samuels. His business mind is undefeated. And why are you coming here with that BS? Cool Kamazi in the building said, to the panel, can you address the Marxist tone of the petition to shut down Mr. Samuels? Also, the last super chat was a Marxist tone as well from BKS. What do you mean by Marxist tone? Maybe I'm
yes. I don't know if you knew about this, Bernard. Game Changer might. But early on in my podcast career, I did a podcast called Black Women Are Sexual Marketplace Socialists.
Yeah. I was around then. Yeah.
And they are. I mean, they're essentially Marxists in that sense. They don't believe in the fair market. They don't believe in the free market. There's the reason why Black women don't like to compete for mates. Black women honestly believe that they should get Idris Elba in every pot. They show up and they get a little, they get a little Idris Elba in the grab bag there. A lot of Black women really do believe that.
Yeah. Well, and they want society to be that way. You know, that not only all men are created equal, that they all should have equal access to all men, all exceptional men.
So, yeah, a lot of them are socialists or Marxists, whatever word you want to use, Leninist, Marxist, Trotskyist, whatever word you want to use, communist, whatever words you want to use. They're definitely not for the free market of love, that's for sure.
So, Sexy Red, we talked about this.
Real quick, allegedly Sexy Red, that's her name around here, allegedly Sexy Red. Anyway, I'm just playing. Well, not really.
No, I get it. Yeah.
Shout out to Sexy Red. She says, I'm 38 and childless. It's over for me, according to Kevin Samuels. He actually
it is. I mean, hold on. Argument that if the name of the game is marriage and children, then the answer is yes.
Yeah. The thing with Red is we talked about
marriage and children to a really high earning, high value, successful man. I mean, there's a such thing as just two middle of the road 38-year-olds getting together and having some kids. I mean, my cousin, who's he's a blue collar worker. He works, makes about, probably make about 70, 65, probably make about 70K. He got with a woman that probably make about 70K. They both about 38, 39, and they getting married and they had a baby. So, I mean, yeah, you can.
If you're getting married and you're having children, because I see Sister George talking about, I got married. We're not talking about baby mamas who got married late in life. We're talking about women who are having their first marriage and first child. If you're 38 and you ain't got it done by now, the statistics are against you.
Yes, that much is true.
Yeah,
that much is true. And especially if she's expecting with the women who call into Kevin Samuels' show is expecting. But is there just a regular guy out there who can get with her and be happy and possibly put a baby in her? Yeah, I mean,
not only that, but a guy like me, a successful guy like me. I mean, hey, sure, we can hang out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about marriage to a successful brother, first marriage, first child. Sis, at 38, you should have been long. The factory should have been long shut down by then.
So I said this to her before on Sweet Melody Speaks panel. Like, I mean, she doesn't have a goal of having kids. Red doesn't. So I mean, like when I believe from what I hear, when Kevin Samuel says it's over for you, he's talking about the whole kid aspect of it. You know, it is very unlikely that
Sexy Red.
Say that again?
You could be a hot MILF for successful guys like me. We can hang out.
Well, she's not even a MILF though. She's just an ILF.
Well, yeah, that's true because she's not a mom, but you'll be an older. So we don't.
Well, you don't want kids. She don't want kids. So you're right. It would be a decent match. You know, provided that there is other compatible.
Here's the trick though. She's not, because MILF means mom I'd like to F. So she's not even a mom.
Yeah.
So ILF. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what we would.
Well, somebody said cougar. Yeah.
Well, she wouldn't be a cougar because cougars are women who, by definition, only have intimacies with much younger men. We're talking about at least a decade or more. So if she was doing that, that would be one thing. But if she got with an older guy like me and we just kicked it, I don't know what you call it. That's a good question. I don't know.
No, as I said before, ILF works. But as I was saying before, she doesn't want kids. Like what Kevin Samuel speaks to is, yes, if you are out there completely single and you start day one, like you go on your first date tomorrow at 38, the chances of you popping a baby out of that situation is very slim. You know, Bernard mentions it, but I think that they were already in the relationship prior to 38. You know, yeah, exactly. But like, yeah, so but her goal isn't children, and there are obsidians out there, like, and there are people like my uncle and, you know, other people, fantastic men who had kids themselves and, you know, not looking for anymore, and perhaps even you, Bernard, like, you know. So
I'm not looking for any more kids. So I mean,
yeah, exactly. Basically, it's over for men like myself who are looking for kids.
Yeah, and then you average in the because she referenced Kevin Samuel, so I'm just predicating the conversation based off what that aspect of his show is about. The aspect of his show that's about women who qualify for high value men. When you break it down from that perspective, then yeah, chances are really, really slim for somebody like that who's closing in on 40 and don't want kids. Most high value men looking for marriage. They're looking for marriage because they want kids. So yeah, that puts her out of that game. But the moral of the story is, yeah, there's still a game to be played, just not that particular game.
Exactly.
That's where I'm at with it. But yeah,
I mean, at this point, you're de facto MILF, just having fun, just hanging out territory.
No, there's a regular average earning or slightly above average earning guy.
We know that. She ain't going for that. We know that.
Well, no, you don't know that. Okay. All right. Either way, there's a. All right. I don't care. Just put it like that. Only thing I wanted to point to is it's over for me. Like some people will say, oh, Kevin Samuel thing, just because, you know, I'm a single woman at 33, it's over for me. I'm a single woman at this age, it's over. Well, it depends on what it is that you're looking for. You're looking for marriage, for some high earning guy who's gonna set you up and have you, you know, on a balcony sipping lemonade, you know, somewhere every, you know, on a Monday on Monday at 11 a.m. You could do that every morning, no problem. Like, you know, yeah, you don't. You're past the pleasure model age, and you're past the pop out the babies of a successful man age. So yeah, there's an aspect of that's flat out over for you. Yeah, absolutely. Wizard X in the building says, came in late, wanted to say salute to you, Wizard X. Appreciate you coming on through. Shout out. All right. Where were we? Shout out to everybody in the building. I know it's a lot of new people. Whenever the numbers is good, that means there's a lot of new people in here. Make sure you subscribe and bang that bell. Make sure you subscribe and bang that bell. Hit the like button. Let everybody know that you're in here. Appreciate everybody who came through today, everybody who supported in any way that you could, even those of you, the 9 of you who hit the thumbs down. But shout out to the 475 of you that hit the like button. JB, I'm no fan of that Uncle Ruckus. That eyeball bothers me. JB, we got to change that. But what's up, man? What you got on this subject, man?
I got a couple things, man. So first of all, I think you need a rule similar to, now I know we don't like, I know not everybody on this side likes that brother, but Jason Black, he has a rule on some of his shows. At least I've seen some.
Mute.
You can't hear me?
You faded off and went mute for a second.
Wait, you still can't hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. No, I was saying, so Jason Black, he has a rule that I've seen him use on his show every now and then, where basically if you disagree with something, you have to come up, or I guess they ban you or block you, whatever, from his show. And in this case in particular, this Goldie chick, whatever her name is, I think you need to, put that rule into effect right now, because for her to write such a petition and then to just say, "Oh no, I don't want to jump up," I mean, to me that seems very.
Well, no, she did say she will email me, so there's a potential chance of me and her doing a one-on-one when we examine the petition and the validity of the claims that were made in the petition. So right now it's not scorch earth, block ban, punt pass, and kick her into the forbidden zone territory quite yet, because she may actually email me and we may actually set up a show where we discuss it. So in the event that happens, then we good. But other than that, she's just in here she's.
I think you're making her too comfortable with her. That's just me. I think you're making her too comfortable, because the link is there. Just like I'm able to join, she's able to join and defend her points. The reality is she can't, right? The reality is she can't defend her points. So it's much easier for her to just say that she's basically going to, pass on this occasion, but she can't really defend those points. That's the reality. I think Bernard froze, or maybe I froze.
No, well, I guess everybody froze, so I'll respond to that. Yeah, but once again, he wouldn't want to, eliminate his opportunity to do the one-on-one with her, because I'd like to see that. I'd like to see both of them go at it on the basis of on each point, line by line, because there are a lot of accusations there that's legit. There you go.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell was happening there. I froze up for a second, but I couldn't even hear nothing that y'all was saying. But I basically got the point that you were making, JB. You said she's getting comfortable. Like, I haven't seen her in the chat that much since we had the little back and forth conversation where I was seeing if she was coming up. And I can understand somebody on the fly, not like she didn't know I was making a stream on this. I can, for all I know, she's probably at work. Okay, I don't know. I was about to say she's probably, working the cashier at Walmart right now. Who knows? She's probably at work. I mean, so I'm not going to say you need to come up right here, right now. I'm not going to do that. But no, she won't be just a regular person just hanging out in the chat indefinitely, after that. But, I'm giving a grace period for a conversation to actually happen. But on the fly, on the spot, come up right now, immediately. Now, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm giving her a little grace period to, to actually set up a time and date. She's probably at work right now. Who knows? But
Supreme King Coon suggested she could be steaming right now,
Yeah, anything. She could be steaming, she could be,
some hickory smoke up there.
Yeah. All kinds of possibilities.
Getting on in
Has she been consistently in the chat the whole day? Because I haven't really seen her since then.
She is getting on in later years. I mean, some ladies keep things well preserved down there. Now we know what the secret is. It's all the smoke.
Okay.
Smoked yam.
Big Mag the Fisher says the womanist movement is pulling out all the stops to cancel all thoughts and actions that oppose their agenda. Absolutely. Red Sings the Blues in the building says women give up because of the abundance of options early in life and not being able to choose one. Men give up because they lack options and working to be an opportunity. I don't know what you're talking about as far as the giving.
Well, I don't know what he means by give up.
Yeah,
because, like,
go ahead.
Women give up because of all the options. What are they giving up?
And what do you mean by men giving up? Men give up because they lack options and working to be an opportunity. Yeah, I don't know exactly what he means by that, but shout out to Red Sings the Blues. Appreciate the super chat.
I think he probably means, because if you change give up to like don't succeed, for example, I think it makes probably much more sense. Don't succeed in relationships, something like that.
Well, then that's not really the men choosing, though. Like, give up implies that it's an individual choice. That just means he's not successful because of his lack of options.
Well, yeah, that's what he said there. So I think he just used the wrong terminology, but.
I mean, he could retype it in the chat. You don't got to super chat it. I'm paying attention to the chat now, so just go ahead and restate what you said, and I'll read it so we can get some clarity on what you mean. Red Sings the Blues, but thank you for the super chat. Appreciate your support.
Bernard, I wanted to make another point, by the way. So the other point I wanted to make is to women like Goldie. Okay, here's the big mistake that they're making is that. Happens to be one of the reasons why I love the manosphere, and especially the Black manosphere, is that there's actually productive brothers here. Okay, there's productive and successful men on this side, and so Kevin's not going anywhere. If you take down if let's say YouTube actually goes and takes down Kevin's channel, IG takes him down, you know what's going to actually happen? What's going to happen is actually you're going to make Kevin stronger, because guess what? On this side, even on this stream right now, there's two software engineers on this stream right now, on this panel right now. Game Changer's a software engineer. I'm a software engineer, right? We have enough productive men here that we'll build Kevin his own streaming platform. I'll do it for free. I'll arrange an engineering team to build him his platform if Kevin needs that. All he got to do is say the word, right? So this idea that you're just going to get YouTube, and it's actually going to be worse, because if we have our own platform now, who are you going to report it to? You going to go to the ISP? To the data center? Where are you going to go? So I just want to put this message out there. Like, you know, you women who are so butthurt about what Kevin is saying that you want to cancel him. If YouTube actually listens to y'all, you're actually going to make Kevin stronger. So I just want to put that up.
Absolutely. All right. I apologize. I'm looking at something behind the scenes. I'm all over here in deep studying.
Looking scroll, please.
I'm sorry. What's that?
Oh, I was asking. Scroll, please.
Oh, yes. Go ahead. Take it away, Game Changer.
Okay. So once again, the behavior is predicted. It's written on the sisterhood scroll. Damage the image and reputation of Black men and boys whenever possible. So this petition is just, you know, her following the tenets of the sisterhood. So it is inevitable for something like this to happen, and this is, you know, just everything that's happened to Kevin and, you know, myself and, you know, and Obsidian and stuff like that. They're going to damage the image and reputation every chance they get. So these claims don't actually have to be true. They're just damaging just by the claims being made.
Right on. Deadly Raver in the building says steamed clam. I'm more of a barbecued catfish man myself, but here's 5 anyway. Hashtag save Kevin. What does that say? Groom these strags. What? Groom these strags? Okay, I don't know what he's trying to say there. Anyway, shout out to you. Appreciate the super chat. I don't know what that hashtag said. I need spaces in between words. I don't know. Anyway, shout out to you. Appreciate that. And my man Ike Ogiamian in the building with the $50 super chat. Appreciate that.
$50. So that makes you rich?
It's a start.
Damn.
Shout out to Ike with the $50. He said, shout out to my like skin Somali streamers. Game Changer, let me know if you want to take a trial tour.
Hey, I mean, Eritrea, Somalia, Ethiopia, those are the best in the world to me. You know, I would not mind taking that tour. You know, especially Eritreans.
Hey Bernard, you notice what's happening in your chat right now? I just noticed. I just noticed something very interesting, right? So remember when Theo was on your show recently, like your last stream? Remember the who called in to shoot her shot at him?
Yes, allegedly Sexy Red.
Now look at who's going at him in the chat.
Now she's what do you mean by going at him? Wait, shout out to Sick Lid real quick. Game Changer spilling the tea and bringing the scrolls. Shout out to you. Okay, so what's going on with him? What's going? Okay, so she's going at him. She said, "You're out of breath simply talking and sitting. An 80 man in a wheelchair is in better shape." Oh, she got rejected, and now she's lashing out at him doing the same thing.
The reason
hashtag Cynthia G or hashtag CR.
The reason I point this out, Bernard, is because this is a perfect example of the conditional femininity, right? It's a perfect example, right? Because she hopped on
with that shit. I do not want no woman's. I don't care how much the shit she think I am. If she's normally an out-of-pocket bitch, I don't care if she's acting right for the time that she's with me. I'm not going to be with her long term because eventually she's going to regress back to the meme of who she is. So that whole I'll be submissive for the right man, that's some bullshit. Anyway,
yeah. She's nice to you.
JB was trying to make a point. Go ahead, JB.
So I was just pointing out that this is a perfect example of how women can put on an act, right? Because she was able to come on and sound all feminine and stuff. But shout out to Theo though, because he literally said all I saw was a shark. So he already knew what it was, right? And he was right about it, because now you can see how quickly everything changes, right? Because whatever one comment that he made in the chat, and then boom, she starts lashing out, and suddenly the different side is showing. This is why you can't just take their act at face value. You just can't. You can't.
Man, I'm gonna quit calling her allegedly sexy, but I don't know. I'm not moved by avatars.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything on that, but yeah, I know. No, well, I mean, because like I tell everybody, I used to online date, and they never look like their picture ever.
Man, I could do a whole show on. Listen, I wish I was still on Tinder. Well, no, because I can't be outing people. But man, when I was on Tinder, you have no idea how many times. And listen, my preference. I like dark skin. I do. My woman's dark skinned. I finally started posting on my Instagram. Well, you're gonna see some personal pictures. You might see my woman on there. I don't know. Maybe. It's, I forgot the name of my Instagram page. Anyway, but I think it's Bernard Riley at Bernard Riley Show. I think that's the name of the Instagram page. But either way, when I was on Tinder, when I was out there, so many women. The reason I brought up the whole dark skinned thing, it would be so many women who would be brown skinned, and in some cases even borderline light skinned it on their pictures. They show up and they're dark as me. And I got no problem with that because I like darker women. Got no problem with that at all. But it's like, goddamn, you change like 5 shades from Tinder to reality. Now that's one aspect of it. Another aspect of it is the changing, 10, 15, sometimes 20 pounds.
Well, black women are the queens of catfishing, right?
And the angles and
don't never trust this picture right here where they taking a picture all the way like a damn drone shot the picture where it's like they hoping they titties come out, they cover up the gut and everything else. That's a problem. That's why they look like they got drones taking their damn Tinder pictures. They got the camera all the way up there looking at it's all kind of tricks and tactics.
I just like online dating was not where it was at. It's like, it's a waste of time. It was chronic disappointment. And that's just the picture aspect. We haven't even gotten into the personalities, but the picture aspect was just like, wait, what? You know, like the McDonald's burger don't look like that when you get it. You know, it was kind of like that all the time.
Like that scene out of Falling Down. You ever see this movie called Falling Down?
Yeah, exactly. He was like, you know, how come the burger on the picture looked like this? And then he pulled out the machine gun. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I got to rewatch that, but I definitely saw it back in the day. I have a whole new take on that right now. If I watched it again as an adult, but I saw it when I was young.
Oh yeah, that's a Red Pill classic.
Yeah. I was younger. It came out early 90s. I was born in 1982, so you know, I was basically a kid when I saw it. So yeah, I do got to go back and rewatch that one as an adult. But
fun fact, Michael Douglas and I want to say Jerry Bruckheimer was the director. They actually did Falling Down in LA. They shot it on location in LA. They did it at the exact same time of the Rodney King riots.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. The riots was going on the other side of town. So you could see the smoke. Back to the smoke reference. You could see the smoke, you know, rising from the Rodney King I should laugh at this. Rodney King riots. But they were filming Falling Down in downtown LA. Yeah. It was really interesting.
I see.
Yeah. And by the way, while I have the floor, isn't this a great time for a nice steaming hot pot of collard greens with smoked turkey butts?
The fuck?
Yeah,
you still on the steaming thing. You can't keep sitting in the chair, man.
Sexy Red, I see you in the back chat, but it is a 0% chance that I'm going to allow you to come up and try to get your word in on whatever happened in the chat between you and Theo. Not going to give you the leg up on him. Now, if Theo was up here, then I would let you up here. Theo's not up here, so you don't get to come up here and speak on him and whatever back and forth tit for tat y'all had going on in the chat. Theo is going to hold the victory, and you're not going to come up here and take it from him. Male bias.
That's cold, Bernard, but I like it.
Yeah. Black male privilege. All right. Moving on. I normally do 3 hours. We closing in on the tail end here, man. So definitely a good show. Definitely a good show. Appreciate everybody who's been supported. Shout out to Steph's Code again. Came through with some unethically huge super chats. Shout out to Ike dropped a 50 on me as well. Shout out to everybody who supports the stream. Appreciate each and every one of y'all. Where do we go from here? JB, I guess you're new to the panel. You can give your thoughts on the petition. We can circle it back to the petition. What's your thoughts on the words that were written in the petition? Go ahead, you got it.
Well, I mean, it was clear that, you know, when I saw the petition, I kind of just started laughing, right? Because it was very clear that she has to, you know, it's one of the things that she's, I don't have the petition open in front of me right now, but one of the things that she did, I think in the second paragraph, was her main thing that she wanted to highlight, and I think you mentioned this earlier, is essentially Kevin's criticism, right? But she had to find a way to make it seem much stronger than that. So she turned it into something physical, where she basically said there's been an increase. And the language, pay attention to the language that people write, because somebody like this, she's clearly smart enough, right? I'll give her that credit. She's clearly smart enough to write, what she wrote in a way where she doesn't have to essentially substantiate it. Label like that. So in other words, she can just make that claim and say, there's been a rise in this, there's been that. And basically kind of basically saying that these two things are correlated, right? These two things are correlated, or not even correlated in her case, because she's essentially literally saying Kevin has caused this to a certain extent. Like that's pretty what she's saying, right? So it's not even just a correlation. And she's able to say that in a way where she can then use that as a foundation for the rest of her petition. And it's so disingenuous and so evil. And this is the part of the reason why I kind of feel annoyed, to be honest with you, that you're letting her be this comfortable. right? That's why I mentioned that earlier.
Is she still hanging out in the chat? Like, where is she?
Well, here's why. Here's what I meant, Bernard, is that because this is clearly a bad faith petition, right? Like, it's one thing if you disagree. If it's one thing if we have disagreements, right? There's one side of YouTube that disagrees with us or whatever. It's one thing versus somebody who's basically making a very disingenuous, clearly bad faith, and actually straight up evil argument, because you're essentially saying that Kevin has caused this increase in violence against women, which you haven't even substantiated, and you can't.
She's on the clock right now to come up and thoroughly get picked apart. But she said she will. She said she will send me an email. She said we'll get a date set. Once that date passed, and me and her don't talk, then she's blocked. That's the rule. That's the deal. That's what I'm going with. That brother P Dad in the building. He says, I take a powerful media personality with juice to take Kevin Samuels. He's saying it would take a powerful media personality with juice to take Kevin Samuels down, and they wouldn't go there unless they were able to get him to come on their platform and ambush him. I'd hope he wouldn't fall for that. No, he has no reason to fall for that because he has a high ground. Because like Star Wars, it's over, Anakin. I have the high ground. But no, he has the high ground, and he don't have to go to their platform. They got to come to him. Even Dr. Umar Johnson would have to come to Kevin Samuels' platform to talk to him. He don't got to go to Dr. Umar. Go ahead, Obsidian.
It would take a powerful pot of steam and smoke.
Damn it, Obsidian.
to do the job. We probably had to get like a big, like a big pot of greens. Had to get a big pot, like a big 5-gallon pot of smoke. That could possibly do it.
So here's also what she doesn't understand also, Bernard, is that contrary to what some people may believe, Kevin is actually it's actually a good look for YouTube, right? Because it's a good success story for YouTube that Kevin has succeeded so quickly, right, on YouTube, and to the point where he's reached 1 million subscribers. All the super chats that he gets, the frequency at which he gets them. There's actually not that many channels on YouTube that actually has the type of in Kevin's case, it's not just the numbers, right? Because there's channels with millions of subscribers, but it's just like when he has the level of how active his show is, right? How active, the level of participation, and people commenting, and how quickly, etc. This is actually a success story for YouTube, right? Yeah. So thinking that just using this, we're being violated, right? Because it's very easy to be a female victim, especially a Black female victim, using this lingo to try to get him canceled. You don't realize that as much as you may think that this overpowers the fact that Kevin's actually a success story for YouTube, and he's making the money because they're taking a cut of his super chats as well. So I mean, as much as I'm not
that's
sure.
A key point right there too. I was about to bring that up. He plays by the YouTube rules and guidelines very well, and he's making them money. That can't be overlooked. That can't be overlooked. That super chat button is powerful. That and people. I don't know too many channels that can get more super chats than him. Like there's platforms that are humongous. When they go live, it'd be some super chats in there, but no, he's killing the game on super chats. And YouTube, they make a nice chunk of money off the super chats. I saw the guy down there. Yeah, there you go. I'm gonna bring you up. P, whatever. I think that's your name. I saw you down there. I'm bring you. Okay, I'll bring you now. Stay on mute. Hold on. Where you at? Yeah, I can't. Okay, there it is. All right.
Now, to be fair, Bernard, in terms of the super chat money, on the scale of YouTube, right? Kevin's super chat money is really not that much. It's a drop in the bucket, right?
I know, but the point that I'm making is YouTube makes a good portion of their money. Okay, I don't know what percentage of their money is made off of super chats. However, it wouldn't be in their best interest to start getting rid of high volume super chat channels that play by the YouTube guidelines and rules. That's the point that I'm making. It wouldn't be in their best interest to do that.
Exactly. And one more thing as well is because of the type of platform they are, from a software perspective, one of the key metrics that companies like YouTube look at is the active user base, right? And Kevin is increasing that. So
Mhm.
you see what I'm saying? So the active user base is an important metric, and Kevin is increasing that. So it just would not make sense for YouTube to actually take his channel down, especially since Kevin is actually not reckless. There's enough brothers in this space who are reckless, you know, who will take certain chances. Kevin doesn't. Like, he's actually very, despite him saying things that are, you know, that are pretty out there, he still stays within the guidelines. He does this very well. So I actually just want to see how far they're going to take this, because they're going to fail. They're going to fall flat on their faces with this one.
Yes, they will. All right, P, letting a newcomer call into the show. I don't think you've ever. No, I'm pretty positive you've never been up here. So go ahead. You got the floor. You got the mic. What you got? You got to unmute yourself. I'll do it for you. Hold on. There you go. All right. Yep. Now we can hear you.
Okay. Is that good?
Yeah, you're good. What you got, man?
Okay.
Mama, that's me. I'm on TV. No, just playing. No, I think you have an actual. All right, I'm gonna let you go. Something you've been fading in and out.
And here's the thing: before the women leave any comments, I'm not no deadbeat. You feel me? Or bum. I got custody of my son. I'm going to school for electronic engineering and welding. So I'm doing something with my life, but it's just we're used to being told. Like, we get told. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, you was qualifying yourself, and I'm like, hey, this you ain't got to do that here. You good, bro? Like this ain't, yeah.
Oh, okay. You know,
do all that. What point?
You know, women quick to be like, who is that?
Hey, women ain't even the majority of the chat, and they don't run the chat. So the hell with whatever they random opinions are. So go ahead. We got.
No, I get you.
You got it.
I think what it is, they just need. They're finally starting to get some of their same. Basically, men are starting to grow balls and say how they really feel, and say how they feel, and women can handle it.
Right.
That's it.
Right. Oh yeah. Good stuff. All right. That's all you got. That's it. Okay. Yeah. I don't know if he was done, if he clicked off, or if he.
No, I think it's a bad connection. I think
his connection been going in and out. His connection been going in and out, even when he was in the back trying to get on. But all right, figure out.
O'Shea would call that struggle Wi-Fi.
You got Plantation Wireless over there. Yeah, you got that Plantation Wireless.
Yeah. So Game Queen, let me ask you a question. So, because you've been covering the whole of the former Miss Karazin issue pretty extensively. So, and you had a chance to actually speak with her. So, what is your argument?
Well, when I spoke to her the first time, it was really just mainly on she's promoting for Black women to wait. She feels
wait
that
for what?
Wait for marriage. That they,
wow.
Yeah, she speaks along the lines of, Black don't crack, and getting married in college is really something white women have to do because we age 10 years behind white women. I kid you not, she actually said this, so yeah, I was critiquing that. I really never get a word in edgewise, but I think that she's letting her own personal feelings and the things that she that she wants to believe herself infect younger Black women. And she also wants to eliminate them as competition. So that's the crux of her message. I really don't care if they open up their options to other races of men, and perhaps it would be in both of our best interests if they did. I don't really have a critique of that, but it's certain little messages like that I really had a problem with, and that's what I'm getting from her.
You say that because that will be my follow-up question, since you have had a chance to interact with her recently. So she's been doing this for 10 years. And in that span of time, I'm not aware of much evidence that she's been able to actually move the needle insofar as getting Black women married off the white men. Has she addressed that at all?
No, not that I know of. She does credit the change, or Black women, marrying more white men, but it really, you got to understand that it was an insignificant push. But furthermore, But it was an insignificant change in the last 10 to 12 years that she's been doing this. But furthermore, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are marrying out more. It could mean that they're marrying in less, meaning that, if they're marrying fewer Black men, then the percentage of white men that they are married for overall marriages would increase, but not for the reason of greater desirability. So, I don't really go off of her statistics, but you're right. The needle hasn't moved much. And okay, one of the other things that really bothers me about her is that she understands that there is a problem culturally with Black women, dating, mating, relating, and marrying, or else she wouldn't need a book telling them not to fart at the dinner table. It actually says that in her book. So she understands that there is a there, that they do.
Hold on a second, Game Changer, because flatulence, if I may. Flatulence is a gastrointestinal distress issue. The key word in gastro being gas, gas. And that brings us back to the smoke.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. Yeah. But but yeah, if it smelled like incense, that'll be one thing. But yeah, I wouldn't mess with that smoke.
I couldn't help myself.
No, I can't. But she understands that there's a problem. However, her new message, because when she first started, when I first watched her years ago, it was about cultural improvement for Black women, so that they can attract men of other races nonetheless. But as long as they change their behavior, I don't really care where they fall after that. I really don't. So that's what it was about now. But because she's gotten so much pushback from the Black community, from the women who say, I'm going to stay fat regardless, she started to cater to that client base and say, okay, there's nothing wrong with you. You're fine just the way you are. You'll never age and everything. And now
isn't that a huge change in message though?
It is a huge change in message.
If I understand it correctly, she used to talk about losing the weight, marry before you carry, don't be a single mama. She used to.
She acknowledged that, as Game Changer rightly pointed out last year. She acknowledged when she called in the Kevin show.
Yeah, that they had the same message.
Yeah, she acknowledged it. Yeah, she admitted it. She said that she had to stop talking about Black women lose weight because her own pinkies refused to address it.
Exactly. She was losing pinkies, as a result, and she didn't want to lose her thumbs. So she just changed her message altogether, saying that, you're fine. And it's Black men not accepting you the way you are. That's the problem. Even though other groups of men aren't going to accept you the way you are if you fart at the table. And she knows this. That's why she wrote the book. So she has changed her message, and now she's just into the divest at all cost thing.
Wow.
But how can you dive?
Yeah, it's not really divesting unless you were initially with them. And trust me, I know she divested in her husband, but she didn't really. Yeah, she can't really divest in something she's not in. I get the irony of it.
Yeah, it's just I'm trying to be, as you probably figured this out by now, Bernard. I'm trying to be very measured and diplomatic, and I'm trying very hard, but it's getting harder. The more I talk to Game Changer about this, because he's had actual dealings with the former Miss Carrison recently about these issues, it gets harder and harder to maintain some frame of reason here. By her own argument. I'm accepting her premise. Okay, fine. There are not enough Black men to go around it. Okay, fine, got it. But by her own arguments, her own internal logic starts to break down here.
It does. And when I point out that breakdown, it's just bad things happen. But yeah, I can unpack what I've been, what I found in my research. But ever since I announced that, she hasn't had a ring on in about 2 years, ever since I announced that, things have changed in our behavior. So
I might also point out that it is possible to actually light a fire in the midst of someone, going through some flatulence.
So I so I got a question. Okay, I have to ask this right now because I have headphones on right now, and somebody has water dripping. I can hear everything.
Yeah, that's my fish tank.
Okay. I was just like, what is that? What is that sound?
Yeah, that's my fish tank filter. I have a fish tank in my office.
Okay, gotcha. So here's
what kind of fish you got in there?
No, this one right here is a 10-gallon freshwater. I got a saltwater in the dining room. Okay.
So here's what I was gonna say, Bernard. One of the things I've noticed, Bernard, is I don't know if anybody else on this panel have noticed this, but a lot of the rhetoric that I hear from these swirlers online is quite interesting because in real life, right, like the swirlers that I know in real life, right, the black women who happen to just be with other races of men, most of them are actually pretty decent women who they're not like anti-black men or anything like that. They just happen to have met a white man or a Middle Eastern man or something like that, and and I actually know quite a few of them, right? And I've never heard them say not one bad thing about black men. It just happens to be that they met this person at this time, et cetera, et cetera. But online, these women swear, these swirlers, they swear that these other races of men are just, they're falling over themselves, to go find these swirlers, right? And and they have this very anti-black men message. But in real life, the women actually doing this in real life, most of them are actually single. They don't actually have these options that they pretend to have. But in real life, the women who actually are dating these men are not like them. Why is that? To me, that's very interesting.
Well, that's because there's a couple of reasons for that. But there is a difference between swirlers and people who just interracially date. There are both men and women in my family that interracially date, and nobody really thinks about it. Swirlers are actually women who are subpar, trying to convince women who are above par to interracially date to eliminate competition. Is essentially what they're doing. The reason why actual swirlers have trouble interracially dating is because who wants someone with those type of issues in their life? Put yourself in the shoes of a white person. Would you want to have children with someone who essentially hates black men? Like, stop and think about that for a second. She has this complete disdain for black men and boys that, extends also to mixed black men and boys, I'm sure. Would you want that to be the mother of your mixed son? Like, if you're concerned about your own legacy, like that's, so the whole logic breaks down. Then the only people they can find, first of all, for a man to interracially date, he has to be a bit liberal, open-minded, progressive, whatever you want to call those things. And those kinds aren't really compatible with the rank and file swirler because everything they have is race-based and really quite racist. So they're not going to find happiness in that regard. They're just not.
Yeah, and another thing would JB kind of stumbled into when you talk about how you don't find the people who just organically interracially date. They're not they're not interracial dating with some ideology behind it. They just happen to meet somebody of a different race in a racially diverse country that we live in, and they just happen to meet some. When I've dated women of other races, that's just how it naturally happened. That it just, hey, they was there, they looked at me like they was interested, started a conversation, and hey, and we started dating. It is what it is. People like that, they're not the ones online making these videos, and that speaks to the power of the David Carroll challenge, where he's basically saying he'll shut down his channel.
Oh yeah, you heard about that, huh?
Yeah, if he could get any swirler during the Christmas time holiday season, just have a video of them and their white guy opening up presents, kissing under the mistletoe, just having a just good, wonderful holiday cheer time. He shut down his channel, and they can't win. And even when Crystal Carrison tried to take the challenge, she showed videos of people that fit into the category that you're talking about.
That was really bizarre. I saw that. She I don't know if Game Changer saw this. The former Miss Carrison, when she called herself responding to David Carroll, she went all over YouTube and the internet showing. I don't even think she knew these people. I mean, she was just getting random, interracial couples. It was really bizarre. I was like, whoa, what are you talking about?
No, we need a card-carrying swirler with the ideology and rhetoric to actually produce that. Won't happen. The closest they got to that is the Crystalline Swirls chick that had the meth-addicted woman beater white guy who she was crying over. Like that's the closest they got to somebody actually, on camera, on video with the white guy. Like that's the closest
to a human kaiju too.
You said she's a human kaiju?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. She was. Yeah.
Made me think of Pacific Rim when I look at her.
Yeah. Thank you, Just Elizabeth, for the super chat. Appreciate that. And somebody else sent a super chat. I'm gonna dig it up real quick and find it. Appreciate everybody who supports the channel in any way that you do. I'm gonna try to go in the analytics and pull up the other people who have been super chatting.
I like the distinction that Game Changer actually made because I think that's a perfect distinction. There's the organic spoilers, and then there's the ones online, and then the ones that the interracial daters, and then the actual spoilers, because they try to represent themselves as if they're the real ones that we see in real life, and it doesn't compute for me because I know the real spoilers in real life, and they're decent women. They're never heard a word against black men from them, right? Like you know what I'm saying? I've never heard a single thing against black men, but yet all of these women online somehow have all these things to say against black men, and then they swear that all these other it's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, swirling or interracial dating rather and mating is really a natural thing. And race-based dating is something that's a social construct. I'm not going to say unnatural, but it's a social construct. We in Black America, and this is something I discovered on my channel, are really the most race loyal than all other, European colonies, except for the ones in Africa. But like when you go to Brazil, no one is concerned about that. And on either side, man or woman, like, you just pick the best person, no matter what color. You just take the best offer that's on the table. Kind of like when you work for a company, you just take the best offer. You don't really care what color the CEO is. It's just like that. We are caught up on that so much. Theoretically, and this is something that I kind of got when talking to I'm talking to people who are first generation American or second generation American. They actually don't even realize that we're still here, and it's shocking and odd to them that we're not only are we still here, but we're still dark black, that we're still darkly brown, because after 150 years or so, you should have been beiged into the population. Like it's only 12%.
Yeah.
Like, so they're like, wait a minute, I thought that your parents were African. You mean to tell me you've been here all this time and you look like that? Like, what the hell? Like, you're the same complexion as Barack Obama, and his parents mixed the first generation they got here. So, or got to America. So, it's we're very unique in that way. Now that's starting to change, but we're very unique in the way that we had this sense of solidarity. It could be Jim Crow and who knows what, but it's interesting.
That's a really good point. And again, I'm no history buff in that regard, but it would be interesting to look at normally in situations like that where out of one group either conquers, wins a war or enslaves another group or whatever, and then now the war is over, so to speak, and then now they're all of them are moving about. Typically, what's the average? How long does it take before the race that was is no more? I think it normally happens a lot sooner.
Exactly.
Like you make a real good point. People, you would think that going back from when slavery started all the way to now, it wouldn't still be the majority of black people in America that pretty much as dark as me. If I had to guess, I don't know the exact numbers on it. Maybe some medium shade of brown. Maybe some shade of brown is the average. But I do think
you're looking at a black guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think that's the point. Yeah, Versus if you go other places when that happened, there's some racial ambiguity where we really don't know what. I mean, we know if we know the history, but we just don't look at that person and say, black, white, or this, yeah.
The Native Americans is a really good case in point. I mean, they got to a point now where they're so intermingled with whites that they have actual, very arcane rules about who's actually in the tribe and who ain't and all this kind of stuff.
And that's only for provision's sake. I mean, outside of that, because there's certain benefits depending on the percentage that you have, scholarships, things like that. But that's the only reason why they even care. But like, if you look at like Mexicans, and there's nothing really racist in this. When you look at Mexicans, they like, where are the Native Americans and where are the Spaniards? Like, it would be weird if there was a clear line between who's of Spanish descent and who's of Native American descent when dealing with Mexicans. And that's because the population just mixed and became one. We didn't do that, and we haven't done that. And we, in a large sense, are still refusing to do that. And that's more the exception than the rule. That's not, like, as history goes, that's not necessarily normal.
Yeah, no, you make real good points. I never even exactly thought of it that way. Like, by this amount of time, you would think there wouldn't be any more clearly definitive black people that you can mistake for an actual African. You would think that wouldn't be the case. You would, wow, yeah. And that brother P that in the building says KC sells two things to women that they already have in abundance: fear and a scarcity mentality. She's not telling them to be the thing that they desire, but to hide their lack of virtue through fetishist delusion. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Appreciate you. And also a special shout out to JM Pedersen 32. He just said, "Yo, Obsidian." I don't know what Obsidian said that made him say, "Yo, Obsidian," with a bunch of laughing face emojis, but he did super chat and I missed it. Shout out to you. Appreciate it. And Black Wolf in the building. And whenever I shout out Black Wolf, I got to shout out SKC now for making this right here. Shout out to Black Wolf Inc. Appreciate the super chat. He says, "What did I miss, Captain?" That's like the coolest thing ever right there. Shout out to SKC for making that. If you need some graphics work done, you definitely need to go holla at SKC. You doing great work over there. Shout out to SKC and shout out to Black Wolf. And as far as what you missed, Black Wolf, we split the atom and you missed it. We did amazing things. Amazing things happened on this stream and you missed all of it. All right.
Yo, Theo is still game banging in the chat. It's funny.
Really? What's going to see?
Theo is savage, man.
Yeah, he did talk about that. How he be going pretty savage in the chat, but I haven't been watching it. I don't know what he's doing. Is he still arguing with Sexy Red? Him and Sexy Red going at it. She said, "Thanks for having me," but no, you said it like you was on the show. You just in the chat. But shout out to Sexy Red. She did bring some joy and laughter to us over the last few days with some of the goings on, and actually looked like she got a beef going with Theo, who she did shoot her shot at, and it was the Kimbe Mutombo. She's a little sad about that. It's gonna be okay, Sexy Red. It'll be okay. All right, go ahead, Game Changer.
Oh no, there was a $2 super chat that I was gonna wait for you to respond to.
Oh,
Mr. Shane Vicious.
Okay, Jim Crow delayed black people from mixing in totally.
Yeah. That's true. But I will say that it's not really natural for 12% of a population to repeatedly stick with a song. Like even if you were to just randomly, point your penis at a vagina, there's only a 12% chance that'll be a black one. So like the fact that we're constantly still black, it means that we're not randomly mating, or we're not just going off of the best option, that there is a there. We're deliberately doing this.
It's beyond probability.
Yeah, exactly.
And the other piece too, although he does make a fair point, but you make a real good fair point. Mathematically, historically, we can look also at the Jewish community. I don't know if anybody's aware of this. I happen to be aware of it because I happen to know a number of folks of Jewish background over the years, and I'm aware of the fact that in the Jewish community, there's a big debate about an increasing number of Jewish people mating outside of the religion or the race, or the religion and the race. And there's a real question about keeping American Jewishness, if you will, as a result. I happen to know quite a few Jewish guys who married, Asian women and so forth and so on and so forth. And it's created quite a stir in their families as a result.
Yeah. And culturally they have. In fact, to the point of, well, I'm not going to say what I was thinking, but, well, yeah, I am. They're when you mate within a certain population for several generations, you start to experience effects that are similar to incest. The Amish community is experiencing it, and they have unique genetic markers that comes from them, Tay-Sachs, things like that. Just as some sub-Saharan Africans have with sickle cell. So it's not necessarily inbreeding, but it's within a population. So that's a thing. And that's for cultural reasons that they stick to their own, and it works to their advantage sometimes in others, and I'm not saying that is right or wrong. I'm just saying that it's not really commonplace. There has to be a cultural push in order to do that. That's what I'm saying. And we obviously have that cultural push, and to eliminate it would not be the end of the world, because I've seen enough of the world to know that cultures function just fine without that. So I'm not really against that portion of Crystalline Kerrisan's message, rather other ones.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was on mute. Mute. But all right. I'm trying to upload something real quick. Something going on in the back that I'm trying to take care of. That's show related, but for some reason it's not cooperating with me.
Well, while he's doing that, let me jump in and say this. So we're having a conversation about a very real question, because I was listening to John McWhirter and Glenn Lowry over on Blogging Heads talk about this recently. And it ties into Kevin's situation right now. And that's this. So a lot of people have been complaining about the whole high value piece. And I've noticed a number of people say words to this effect. Well, Kevin he's been taking calls from a lot of people, but none of them are, high value themselves. Excuse me. And it's pretty easy to explain why they say because high value people ain't on YouTube, and so on and so forth. Okay, I can accept that. The high value folks, the better off black people, have paired off a long way back, and they're likely to still be together. Likely, not a given, but likely. That begs the question. So if who's left that are calling in the Kevin show? I mean, high value can only be high value in comparison to what? If there's a high value, that means there's a low value. And if there's low value and those are the people that are calling in and watching YouTube, then what it suggests to me is that we got a lot of low value people in Black America. And if we got a lot of low value people in Black America, how do they constitute, enough human capital to move the needle for Black America in a 21st century world? If we have a society of Black people who, for whatever reason, Jim Crow, racism, one drop rule, whatever, have been more or less forced to mate within themselves. That's the argument. Okay, fine. Here we are in the 21st century in a uber competitive environment in every way. How do we move the needle in terms of mating? We have a sure feat of low value people in Black America. And who wants to mate with someone of low mate value?
ideally, and this is what immigrant communities are doing and have done, is that low value people, and this is actually what our not even our ancestors, our our parents and grandparents even have done, and that is two low value people just get together and have children and hope that their children become high value and continue the process until one generation the children do become high value. That's the intelligent thing to do.
Yes, I agree 100%.
Yeah, the unintelligent thing to do would be to wait for a high value counterpart until you're no longer fertile. That's just stupid.
Right. Agree. Now, that's something that I speak to that all the time. And this is going back to the Sexy Red. Well, no, I'm not gonna put her in there, even though she did say something that sort of prompts what I'm saying right now. But if you got somebody whose value is not very high and they get with somebody whose value is also not very high, that still can be a functional family, provided that they function together, provided that they act in a functional way.
Right.
And they raise some functional kids who grow up and become functional adults and productive members of society. They may not be super successful, but
where's the evidence of that in Black America?
I know that's one thing that Black America fails to do. Yes.
Yeah, we're not doing that. And I gave the analogy to Crystal and Karazin that that other races, even if you're, and this isn't a diss because I respect and understand your circumstances and work ethic. There are certain groups who just got here this generation who off seasons when there isn't any agricultural work, you'll find them outside of Home Depot. Yet they have wives. And their wives are generally hotter than the women who are, waiting for a better deal. So it is very interesting that they just refuse to make that change or make that adjustment. In fact, it's very interesting that they adjusted away from that, where they've come to the conclusion that no man is better than a hardworking man. And I find that very bizarre. Because, they really don't see value in the man himself, just the fruits of his labor.
Well, you made a really good point about the former Miss Karazin and yourself earlier, Game Changer, about the whole thing with Kevin and so forth. And my experience of her is that she's a very ambitious woman. She wants to be, where the people who matter are. And I don't take that away from her. But in my personal opinion, this is my opinion now.
Mm-hmm.
Social climbing is a bit different for men than it is for women. For a woman, things are a bit more fixed. It really is down to your youth and your beauty, and the more you have of both, the better off you are insofar as that concerned. Plus, if you're born into the right circumstances, they're born into the right family and stuff like that. Otherwise, if you're not, it's very hard for you to move up. For men, it's different. You can be, the proverbial Horatio Alger and work your way, and nobody in no place is a better place for this to happen than America. We see it all the time. I mean, to use one prominent example, look at Jay-Z. He went from Marcy Projects and married into a good family with Beyonce. We all know the end of that story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very difficult for women like a Crystal and Karazin formerly, who came from working class roots, went to a mid-tier university in Loyola Marymount, to be able to appeal to, her former baby daddy and guys like Kevin. You don't have outsized looks. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Crystal and Karazin. She's not ugly, she's not beat, but nobody's going to accuse her of being a beauty queen. I mean, if you're just like above, just average or above average, and you don't have anything else firing for you as a woman, it's going to be hard for you to really punch above your weight. That's different for a man. You can be a man that doesn't have the education, doesn't have the connections. You can work your way into that. And time is on your side. But if you're a woman and if you're not born into that, or in some other way you have connections, your level is going to be the hardworking guy. And that's a big thing. That's a big hit for a lot of black women like Harrison. I think Harrison speaks to, I think the reason why Harrison has the kind of...
Hold on, see, when you say that's a big hit for a lot of black women, but for other women, that's just common sense fact of reality. That's the part that gets confusing, not confusing, but that just goes over the heads in this conversation.
Yeah.
Most women understand that simple fact that, yeah, just a regular hardworking guy, that's pretty much what I'm going to qualify for, and that's what they go ahead and marry and get with, and just is what it is. That's your life. The average women of other races, even slightly above average women of other races, they generally understand that. They generally understand that that's how life works.
Yeah, exactly. Like not too long ago, I was at an In-N-Out Burger, and there was a young white girl there, and she had an engagement ring on, so I just said congratulations, and she just lit up, and she was like, "Oh, thank you. You noticed?" I was like, "Yeah, I noticed that you don't have a wedding, that you're not married yet, so you probably just engaged, which is great. Do you have a date set?" And she was like, "No, whenever he gets back." So she was just like, a young white lady, maybe anywhere between 18 to 21. And, she's marrying her boyfriend that's in the Air Force. She didn't have delusions like, maybe next year I'll do better if I'm ever managing this In-N-Out Burger. Then there isn't the craziness. Now, and the reason why I push back on CK so hard is because her logic is that black women don't have to do that because they don't age at the rate of white women. Physically, at least, or aesthetically, at least, therefore they can actually wait, and somehow at 41, your options will be better than that at 21, which is ridiculous. That young lady is smart to marry a boyfriend in the Air Force. Who knows, what, a few years of gaining rank and things like that, and military housing and all that good stuff, will yield her on a financial aspect. But yeah. The B-dub is turning guys like this down. And the same for anything, like the same for male men. Like if you see like a basic blue collar white guy, and there's nothing really basic about blue collar, but this is their terminology, not mine. If you see a blue collar white guy, one that delivers mail or one that changes the tire on a thing, or operates a tow truck or something like that, you'll see him with a wedding ring. Like they're not waiting for that, and their women do not have these, grandiose desires, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. And excuse me, I'm munching on something. That's the reason why we had a conversation a little while back, Game Changer. You might remember it. So I put out some standards of my own. So we had the whole high value man. This is what it takes to be a high value man. So I said, okay, so this is what it takes for me if you want to be with me as a woman. And one of those things was you got to attend a top tier university. You can't be coming rolling up and you telling me you went to Temple. I need University of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I gave you pushback on that because that's like that's the grandiose desires on the opposite end, in my opinion. But I mean, you have every right to want what you want. I'm not gonna.
Let me explain why. The reason why was because I already know very important people. I need you to introduce me to even more important people. If you can't introduce me to more important people, why do I need you? I could do that on my own. See, the point that I'm getting at is to get right to the point that we're talking about right here. See, I know exactly what you're talking about. As a lifelong blue collar brother, I know exactly what you're talking about, Game Changer. A lot of sisters are, at best, eternal sevens, as Kevin would put it, looks and achievement wise, but think that they're high caliber and high and top tier, and their reality tells them otherwise. But then they want to think that they're better than what I can do. And what ends up happening is I'm on par, if not exceeding them in accomplishment. So my position is, now that I've achieved what I've achieved, no, I need you to be top tier. Because if you're not top tier, why do I need you? I already got access to real important people. By definition, high value men by definition have networks of people who can make things happen. This is a Game of Thrones marriage here. House Obsidian and House whatever you are. I bring this to the table. You bring what to the table? I already bring connections to the table. I can make things happen for you. What can you make happen for me? If you can't make something happen for me, I don't need you. Why do I need you? And see what Kevin has done in a masterful way. I love how Kevin put it. Bernard put it recently. I love how he put it. Is he lets these ladies know you don't bring anything to the table that these guys actually need, let alone want. We can forget want. What do they need? You bring nothing that they need. See, I need that Harvard inner circle. I need that Yale inner circle. I need that University of Pennsylvania inner circle. I need that Northwestern inner circle. I need that Stanford inner circle. I need that.
I mean, yeah, that's your.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the person.
So
I mean, that's Obsidian's personal need. Yeah, just to make that very clear. Obsidian speaks for himself about needing a woman's personal Harvard inner circle. That's not nothing that I push. That's not, I won't even say push, but yeah, that's Obsidian. Obsidian definitely speaking for himself on that one. Shout out to Mr. C. Thank you for the $40 cash app. Appreciate that. And shout out to Red Alert dropping $5 on the super chat. He says for the cause. Appreciate that. Everybody who's supporting the stream. What was I?
Before that, and yeah, I agree. You have a right to your desires, and I know I gave you pushback on it, saying that it was unrealistic before, but you really have a right, just like I desire, just like fertility is a factor for me, connections is a factor for you. So I respect that. I do feel that that her message is definitely damaging to women and, subsequently men, in telling them that because, Black women physically age different or, aesthetically age differently, that they should wait longer, because what's happening now and what will continue to happen if they take this message is that they will just wait indefinitely. Somebody said in the chat room that, Black women do age better. So if we were to go with that premise, as a fact, then it should mean that they're better candidates to marry young and you can enjoy their beauty longer. However, that's
a good point.
Yeah, the unintelligent response would be we have more time to procrastinate in marrying. And yeah, Black may not crack. And somebody said in the chat room, Black don't crack, but their eggs do.
So I thought, okay, I think we're gonna have to cut this shit out. So I thought Black don't crack was supposed to be a feel-good thing. Are we actually talking about Black don't crack like it's a scientific point these days? Because
she actually
this just blows my mind. This just blows my mind. Yes, yes, we do see some Black people who are older and they look young. Okay, sure, we see that. But are we really going to say this as if it's just like a fact now?
Well, she not only said that as it was a fact, she said that it was a scientific thing. That a Black woman's, quote, skin was thicker. I'm not sure the science on that. Collagen more dense or some crap like that. Nevertheless, that doesn't mean that there are other biological reasons that they should look to marry younger and have the same sense of urgency that every other woman does.
The Black don't, hold on real quick. The Black don't crack. As far as the way that I understood it, wrinkles show up less on darker skin. That's all it meant.
That's all it meant. But
it meant nothing else.
But she interprets it as we have longer to decide. We have more time to decide. Which
So black don't crack. So black don't crack, but 80% of you are fatties. Really? Like
no. She did say provided that you take care of yourself.
Right, but my point is, if
and by taking care of yourself, she
you
meant get lipo because Crystal and Karen have liposuction.
And not only that, we know that by that phrase, and going back to her call to Kevin's show last year, we know the majority of her own black women don't take care of themselves. So I mean, it's a moot point at best.
Right. It's like how are 80% of you fatties, and yet you want to claim black don't crack? Because that part of it is you have to take care of yourself, like Game just said. You have to take care of yourself. And if you're fat, more than likely you're not taking care of yourself. Not always the case, but more than likely, in most cases, if you're fat, you're not taking care of yourself. So anyway, I just hate the fact that we're taking this thing that I understood as just a feel-good thing, as a black power, black empowerment thing, and we're basically stating it like it's a scientific fact now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, no matter what, I mean, women should not be waiting on marriage. They should have a healthy sense of urgency for it, period. I mean, they should be looking for it in college just like every other woman, not saying that, okay, so, I mean, then by that logic, every black woman, who's whatever age you are looks 31 and you have to compete with them.
She looked 31 in that picture. Her most recent wedding picture that was taken out in the sun, she didn't look a day over 50 in that one. But
well, we talked about pictures, but I'm saying, like I'm saying, like, I'm just taking this whole scientific study that Crystal and Karen brought up as fact. Even if that were the case, you still have to compete with other black women. I mean, so yeah, that is the thing.
Kenneth Williams in the middle with Super Chat. Appreciate you. He says, for the content. All right. Look, man, hate to wrap it up when the numbers is good, but I'm not gonna do an 8-hour marathon. Hey, don't tell me to get off, Sister Joy. I let like 10 insults go the other day. I just saw them one after another. I just stayed focused and did my show and paid attention, stay focused on my interview with Theo. I didn't even come at her. I should have, but I let her slide for a whole day. I had to get her. But all right, we about to wrap this thing on up. I'd like to thank everybody who participated in the show in any way, shape, or form. Whether you like, share, subscribe. D-Rod Dan, thank you for that Cash App that you sent. I don't know, I'll be forgetting to shout you out. Just send a Cash App every time I'm on the air. Appreciate everybody who came through. And I'm about to play something that was just recently sent to me. I've never seen it. An official ad about to get played right now, live on the air. As we get out of here, let's go. Today's show is brought to you by the Division 6 comic book, created and produced by Michael Varner and executive producer Theodore Young. Division 6 is a James Bond meets Mission Impossible-like geopolitical thriller. The protagonist is Seth Banks, an African-American male genius in cryptology and economics that secretly works for a rogue organization of the CIA called Division 6. Be sure to click the link in the chat room or in the video description to view the comic book. New chapters are added bi-weekly.